The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you owe it to yourself to let Greg Greenwood and the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown give them a chance to earn your business. You will not be sorry. All right, we're with you till 3 o'clock, at which time Power Hour will take you through the 3 o'clock hour. Lots of stuff to get to, lots of basketball, lots of college football, lots of things to talk about on this Monday afternoon.
We had baseball on the network this weekend. We had basketball on the network this weekend, and obviously YSU football. We'll have Bob Hannon a little bit later. This is going to be a packed show with all different kinds of sports. It's a very busy kind of area of sports coverage in the media.
Yeah, we'll have Balish on at 1 o'clock, TV21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Rob Schmidt will preview the men's quarterfinal game tomorrow night in the Arena against Oakland.
In the arena.
Yeah, that'll be at 1:30, and then Bob Hannon will talk YSU football. Penguins off to an 0-2 start. Don't blame the defense. Defense has been lights out for the first two games. They've just run out of gas, unfortunately. The offense has all kinds of problems, starting up front with a very inexperienced offensive line. Saturday, an interesting little thing happened that I really didn't think too much about it. I think we got more of a chuckle out of it than anything else. Tim Johnson was on the sideline, the director of player personnel, didn't get out of the way. One of the kids from Northern Iowa ran out of bounds, ran into Tim Johnson, ran to the ground. I mean, he got popped and went to the ground. And, well, the Missouri Valley Conference didn't think too highly of it. YSU director of player personnel, Tim Johnson, will not be permitted on the sidelines for the remainder of the spring football season. Youngstown State and the Missouri Valley Football Conference announcing that this morning. I think it's more of an announcement from the Missouri Valley Football Conference than it is Youngstown State. But Tim Johnson did make a statement quoting Coach Johnson, "I apologize to UNI, YSU, the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and our community for what occurred on Saturday. As a member of the YSU football staff, my actions are held in high regard, and that should have never occurred. Again, I deeply apologize to all who have been impacted by my actions." And look, I was on the sideline. I personally didn't even see it. I had to look and see the replay, and we all got a kick out of it. Apparently, they didn't think it was too funny in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, so it is what it is.
It's bad optics. It's a bad, the optics of it, didn't look good, and that's why they kind of. I think it would have looked worse if they didn't do anything about it, just because it's been all over social media, it's been all over the internet, everyone knows about it. So then they had to take action a little bit. So
yeah, Saturday night I was, people were looking at me going, "Hey, what the heck happened at Istanbul?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Well, with the coach and the player, I'm like, "You guys are really making a big deal out of that?" Okay, whatever. So apparently the Missouri Valley Football Conference didn't take too kindly to Coach Johnson doing what Coach Johnson did, basically standing still. Although did kind of put a shoulder into him. I'm just saying. But it was kind of hilarious to see the kid bounce off of him and go to the ground. No one was hurt, but apparently Coach Johnson won't be on the field the rest of the spring, so there you go. Look, I mean, Youngstown State's got bigger problems than that. Their offensive line, again, very inexperienced. We had the only remaining starter didn't play on Saturday, so now you had 5 guys that were really inexperienced up front.
Yeah, not the good 5 guys, Burger Troy.
Well, yeah, not the good ones. It was, look, I mean, it was tough. It was, whether it be Craycraft or Wade, both guys drop back to pass before they're even set. Somebody's getting after them and forcing them out of the pocket.
Looked very familiar.
Yeah, it kind of looked like what you saw in the Super Bowl. But look, I mean, and I got some flack from some people saying, "Well, Wade's got to play. Wade's got to play." Look, this isn't local high school, okay? I'm not interested. Let me make sure that I'm not offending anyone when I say this. I have no interest in starting someone just because they're local. I'm starting someone because they're going to get the best job done. And what I said on Saturday, I'll say again. The reason why Wade and Craycraft are both playing is because neither quarterback has firmly grabbed the job and said, "This is mine. I'm your guy. Here we go." That's the reason why Doug Phillips is playing both of these quarterbacks. Neither quarterback has stood up and said, "This is mine. I'm taking it." Neither quarterback has done that in practice. That's why Coach Phillips has to play these 2 guys. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when Southern Illinois comes to town. What I do know is Southern Illinois just beat the living daylights out of North Dakota State this past weekend, and they're in a pretty nice place right now.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about YSU football when we get Bob Hannon on, and we'll break down the game, break down the matchups.
Yes.
For the next week. But we got some basketball.
Yeah, we got plenty of basketball. First and foremost, let me throw the records down here for the high school tournament basketball versus out-of-town opponents. This is something that I've been keeping for 4 years now. And for the first time in 4 years, the girls played above 500 in districts against out-of-town opponents. They finished 6-5, which is phenomenal.
I mean, let's try to. So Western Reserve beat East Canton.
Yes,
that's one.
Yes.
Do you count Marlington as out of area?
That is out of area. They're not in the 3-county area, so they're out of area. I don't
remember what counties everyone's in. So Poland beat Marlington.
Yes.
That's 2.
Yes.
For the girls, let's see who else was in. McDonald played Newton Falls, so they're not out of area.
They're not out of area.
South Range played Brookfield, they're not out of area. We're just going with districts as a whole.
District semifinals and district championship games.
Okay.
Yeah. Combined, the girls finished 6-5, and to give everyone an idea of just how good this is, 3 years ago it would be 3 years ago they were 2-3. 2 years ago they were 0-6. Last year they were 2-3. This year, for the first time, 6-5. As far as the guys go, the sectionals, they had their best sectional tournament in 4 years. The guys finished a combined 16-9, 12-11 3 years ago, 6-10 2 years ago, 10-6 last year, 16-9 this year. So basketball's looking better and better and better around these parts, and we have some interesting regional matchups for the girls and some really interesting district semifinals on tap for the guys.
Yeah, and let's just start with there were some surprises on Friday for me. I was pretty surprised, one, that not only that Canfield beat Ursuline, but Canfield just dominated Ursuline the way they did in Ursuline. Props to the Cardinals, because we've said this before on this program. That program right now is overachieving to what their expectations were before the season by many people, around that school and that program. So, man, props to Canfield.
Yeah, I mean, we made mention. That's a team I didn't want to play toward the tail end of the season because they were starting to get really, really good. Congratulations to them. They did a number on Ursuline, and that you don't normally see anybody doing that to an Ursuline team. They did a great job defending, and they did a great job scoring against Ursuline. That was a fantastic win for Canfield, and they get to go to the district tournaments. And keep in mind this is a really, really young Canfield basketball team. So this is a great opportunity for these kids. And that's just going to springboard them next year. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go in this district tournament, but certainly getting that victory, huge.
Yeah, and it's big momentum for that. Even if they don't win this week in the district semifinals, man, what that does for a really young team that's not too many seniors on the team. It's one of the reasons why people didn't have too many high expectations, because their core left last season. So, man, that's this program experience at this point. No matter if you win or lose, you're getting your young kids into a district game where they're getting used to that stage. So either way, it's a win-win right now for Canfield. They're playing with house money.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll host Chardon.
Yeah, they get to host.
Yeah, who pulled off another upset. And so the two teams that we didn't expect into the district semifinals are in the district semifinals.
I think if you told Coach McElroy at the beginning of the season that he'd be hosting a district semifinal, he'd be like,
"Where do I sign?"
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, where do I sign on the dotted line here? That'll be on Thursday at 7:00. I tell you what. Look, I mean, Division I, we're all finished. Boardman got hammered. By Hoover.
And this is a team that they competed against in the regular season. I believe, if I'm not wrong, Hoover's a team that they went to play in a neutral site down in Massillon, Washington. And I think they competed against Hoover. So I was surprised that in the second round, Hoover kind of dominated that game.
Yeah, and then
I could be wrong.
Fitch lost to Hoban by 16. Harding got blasted by Massillon Jackson. So Division I is completely out the window.
And we've said it before, Division I, different animal, different parity, just that it's so deep, and not surprised that teams struggle in Division I.
Yeah, Division II, these games are going to be Thursday and Saturday. Canton South is at Struthers, Chardon at Canfield. That's the upper bracket, the one district bracket. The other district bracket, Louisville at Poland, West Branch at Cheney. This other bracket, dear God, all four of these teams have a rightful argument to say we can be district champions.
Let's start with West Branch, because this was a really big, monumental win for their program. They haven't been to a district since 2008.
It's been a while.
So getting there, and then getting there by beating an EBC opponent in Marlington, 58-50, big win for the Warriors, and now they get to kind of be on this stage for the first time since 2008, which is
13 years.
Seasons. So
yeah.
They end a big drought, and that's just once again monumentous for the program, because no matter what, you're getting these kids looks at this stage. You have to take steps as a program. So Coach Brown just taking those steps. Okay, we got here where we're going to compete here, and then for years to come, now we know the standard on how to get there. We're going to take the next step. So big win for the West Branch Warriors to get into this district semifinal.
Yeah, and like I said, all four of these teams, Louisville, Poland, West Branch, Cheney, they can all sit back and say, we can be good enough to win these next two games and get ourselves a district champion. We'll see what happens on Thursday, but man, both of those games could be really competitive.
Louisville pulled off the upset too. They came down to Salem and beat the Quakers. I mean, I don't think the seeds were too far off of each other, but it was technically an upset as far as the seeds go. But when you look at Louisville's schedule, you just realize, wow, this team is ready for this tournament, because they play a ton of Division I teams, and that independent schedule might come back to really benefit them in this tournament.
Yeah, I spoke with their coach on Friday, and one of the reasons why Louisville is where they are is that daunting schedule that's prepared them. And, they didn't just play name product just to play name product. They played some of those teams because they wanted a variety of different styles of basketball. to help them in the tournaments. It's one thing to sit back and go, oh, we're going to play these tough teams. Well, you also want to be able to make sure, okay, we're going to be playing a team that plays a half-court set. We're going to be playing a team that plays a zone defense. We're going to be playing a team that is a real tough pressing, man-to-man, in-your-face, from baseline to baseline type of team. We're going to play a team that likes to run. So they picked and chose who they wanted to play, which will really prepare them for the tournament. And I'm going to tell you right now, this game, Louisville at Poland, it's going to be a really good test for both teams.
I was talking to Ken Grisdale on Saturday because their girls won. They cut down the nets, but he had to go put the nets back up. And I said, man, you're just putting them up to take them right back down. And he said, I hope so. So they're going to have some busy going through some nets in Poland if things go right. Well, no matter what, because teams are going to cut down a net in Poland no matter, well.
No,
it's semifinals.
This is the semifinals. You got to win that game.
So I'm thinking it's going to be at Poland, but these are semifinals. So you don't cut the nets down to get to district championship.
No. You're going to have to win twice, and then you can cut the nets down.
I was joking with him a little bit. I mean, I was saying, hey, man, you're putting those nets up just to take them right back down. He goes, I hope so, man.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
So
we'll see.
Louisville is going to be a tough opponent for the matchups, and
yes.
Poland's going to have to slow him down a little bit. I think Colosimo's going to have a really good game because he's a big body that can play a little bit of the perimeter. Very versatile player. He's going to have to come up big. And I think one of the wild cards that doesn't usually score a ton but really runs that offense, I think Senefani might be able to get some room and run with Louisville, maybe get some layups in transition to help Poland's offense a little bit.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, the good news is we're not going to lose because both teams are in the YSN family. So
we have the whole YSN family in that whole bracket. So no matter what, we're going to have two teams with YSN represented in the championship. And no matter what, we're going to have a team in regionals out of that bracket. That's what it feels really good.
Exactly. And then the other region, these games will be played on Thursday. Canton South is at Struthers. Canton South is from the same conference as West Branch and Salem. They play a physical style of basketball, and it all depends on the officials. If the officials let these kids play, Canton South has a really good chance to stay with Struthers.
We're going to say that against West Branch Cheney, too. I mean, if the refs let West Branch really get physical and slow Cheney down, then that's going to help West Branch's chances to win that game.
Agreed. And then Chardon and Canfield, two teams that, frankly, we didn't expect either team to be in the districts. But that's the beautiful part of the tournaments.
And I'm going to have to do some research and see how Chardon plays and try to see how they stack up. So maybe we can preview that game on Thursday. Maybe we can break the rules a little bit and get maybe a few boys coaches on Thursday to preview those Thursday games.
Well, we can see what we can do. So that's for sure.
We'll see. You know, we're always very flexible on Running Point.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Division 3 and 4 will be played on Tuesday. Division 3, the one district champion is at Springfield. South Range is at Pymatuning Valley. It looks an awful lot like a rematch of a regular season game, but South Range is on the road against a higher seed in Pie Valley.
You know, we saw on Friday night how South Range's schedule prepared them for going on the road and beating a higher seed in Division 3. No, this is not a disrespect to Garfield, but their schedule just not up to snuff with playing the NE8 and night in and night out when you're playing almost, I think, every team except... Are Girard boys Division 2?
Yes, they are. Girard is D2.
I feel like every team in the NE8 and the boys basketball
except for Jefferson
so every team except Jefferson is up a division.
Yep.
So, you know, that's a grind, and I think that's preparing them, and that's why they went on the road to beat Garfield without too much trouble, and we'll see how. I know Pymatuning Valley dominates their league, and that's one of the reasons why they're the 5 seed. But we're also going to have to see how Pymatuning Valley's schedule stacks up with South Range's. And it's going to be hard to stack up. So I think South Range has a legitimate shot despite the fact it's the 9 seed going to the 5 seed. And as far as the Springfield champion game, I'd be careful if I was Springfield because I know they want that South Range matchup so bad. They want South Range on their home floor. They want to prove to people that South Range shouldn't have beat them earlier in the season. But man, Champion's a hot team on fire right now. They started the season 1-5.
Yes.
And I think they've only lost like 1 or 2 games since then. I mean, they're just all the momentum in the world. You cannot sleep on Champion. So you better buckle your chin straps for that one. Then you can start talking about, possibly getting South Range in the Tiger Jungle and trying to beat them at home. But you got to take care of Champion first. So
Yeah, exactly.
we always tell teams don't fall into the trap game. And this could be one for Springfield.
Yeah, this and Champion, like you said, partner, Champion's playing really, really good basketball right now. And their league was just a jungle. It was an unbelievably good league that's only going to get better.
Was that pun intended or not intended?
No, it was pun intended.
All right, there you go.
And it was just look. I mean, it is a very good league. I think it's deeper than the Scarlet tier. I think the gray tier was better and deeper than the Scarlet tier, and it's only going to get better when Garrettsville Garfield comes in next year.
The only thing that I would say for Champion that's going to really stack against him is that loss against Sebring. It's probably like sniffing salt for Springfield a little bit. And I don't think they're going to be caught off guard by anyone in this tournament. No matter, I mean, even though I say it's possible, it's one of those games that you look at and you say they could really overlook them because they're staring a matchup with a hated rival in the championship game at home.
Yep.
But I don't think Springfield is ever going to overlook someone again for the rest of this basketball season.
No, definitely not.
Because they got that was one of the biggest upsets of the whole year, probably in the whole state in high school basketball when you look at the rankings between the two teams. So Springfield doesn't want that kind of thing to happen again. I'm sure they're laser focused.
Okay, the other D3, the other district, LeBray had an exciting victory over Crestview on Friday night, beat them by 1 point. They will go to Cardinal Mooney to take on Cardinal Mooney on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Waterloo, out of the Scarlet tier, will be taking on a MVAC Gray tier team when they go to Newton Falls to take on Coach Sembach and the Newton Falls Tigers. These will be two very interesting games.
By the way, I just got a text, and this is, our friends and the viewers are wonderful at giving us little nuggets. So last time we're going back to the West Branch. I know we moved to the Division 3, but West Branch was in the district championship in 2008, the last time they went there. Lost to Poland 72-71 in double overtime.
Okay.
So,
interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So that loss, I'm sure no one could have imagined that it would be 13 years after that until they get back to a district tournament.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes it works out like that. It proves that you're never guaranteed, no matter how good or how good of a year you had. The next year, never guaranteed to get back there. So
that's true.
To all these teams that are in the district semifinals, in the district championships, in the regionals for the girls, treasure this moment, suck it in, go play your hearts out, because no matter how good you are or how good your roster is, the next season it's not given to you, so it's not guaranteed you're going to get there. No,
and I can count on one hand the amount of sectional titles my alma mater has.
Right.
So it's tough. Whether you're winning 2 games or 1 game to get a sectional title, that's tough. And then to win 2 games. On paper, you look at this and you go, oh, this is a piece of cake. You win 3 games or 4 games, and you go to the regional tournament. No, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. There are plenty of schools that have never won a district championship or have only won 1 district championship.
Back to finishing up Division 3, I think we have the other bracket to talk
about.
Yeah,
we made mention. LeBray at Cardinal Mooney, Waterloo at Newton Falls. These will be 2 interesting games.
I'm very intrigued at Newton Falls and Waterloo playing each other. I mean, how do you stop Kyle Shockley? Or do you even try to? I mean, in 2 tournament games, he scored, I think, 43 and 38. So that's mental math.
Little over 40 and a half again.
Right.
40 and a half period again.
My word. He's unreal. So Newton Falls, I don't even know if you put effort in stopping him or just say, hey, go off and we'll try to score more than 50 and keep the rest of your teammates under 15. I mean, pick your poison.
Newton Falls is good enough where they can shut some people down. They play some quality defense, so I'll be real curious to see how this game goes.
So in your over under Kyle Shockley with 28 points.
Under.
All right, cool.
Under. Yeah.
We'll see. And that's going to be one of the interesting things about tomorrow. I mean, a lot of really big names going up against it in the district semifinals.
Yeah, and then the other game, LeBray will be at Cardinal Mooney, and on paper, this is a one-sided blowout of epic proportions on paper. It's not going to be on paper. This is a basketball floor.
You got to be careful when you're playing teams that come off of a big momentum-bringing win, like winning by 1 point or winning on a buzzer beater, whatever it may be, because they're giving a little bit of extra breath going into that next game. So you really, especially the start, the first quarter, Mooney's got to make sure that they're the team with the energy, they're the team with the little giddy up in the first quarter, because LeBray's coming in hot after winning by 1 over Crestview.
The longer LeBray stays in this game, the more trouble Cardinal Mooney's in. If Mooney blows him out in the first quarter, then okay, you're in good shape. There won't be an upset alert. That's the end of the story. But if LeBray plays with Mooney in the first quarter, all right, now a little more pressure is going to be on Cardinal Mooney. There's no pressure on LeBray. Look, and like I said, on paper, this is a blowout of epic proportions. Mooney plays a better schedule. They've played, whatever. But for LeBray, I've seen his team play. When they're engaged and they're ready to play basketball, don't sleep on these kids. They can play.
It just goes back to, man, how quick things can change in our program, because I remember the start of YSN 2017, we did a LeBray South Range game, and LeBray at that point was, okay, where our goals are higher than just going to a district semifinal. I mean, you in a district semifinal, LeBray was a team you're saying they're going to blow them out on paper, because that program was just phenomenal. So it's funny that now we're talking, 3 years later, things can change really drastically.
Well, it's not that LeBray is still a good
they're
team.
Solid. They're just not that
but they're
team.
Not Mooney.
They're not that team that we expect to get the regional finals. That's our bar. It's not LeBray's bar right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if it was their bar, they would be the underdog because they're playing a name product. They're playing a better name product than Cardinal Mooney.
The LeBray team from 2016 would be an underdog against anybody in this area.
Well, from the name aspect,
I get it.
It would. So that's where I'm coming from with that. And look, I think LeBray can play with Mooney. I think all the pressure in the world's on Mooney and not LeBray, because not many people are going to expect LeBray to go into the south side of Youngstown and beat Cardinal Mooney. So we'll see what happens. Division 4, I would really love to know. Now looking at it, in hindsight's 2020, I'd really love to know now what JFK is thinking. Now that the district that they could have gone into is about as wide open a district as you're ever going to find. Now that Heartland Christian was beaten in overtime by Matthews, who, by the way, will have to make a trip down to Wellsville to take on a Wellsville Tigers team that is playing some pretty solid basketball in their own right. So we'll see where that is. And then Lowellville is going to go up to Bristol and take on one of Trumbull County's better teams.
Bristol barely won. They were in a dogfight because I was doing the Lowellville game, so I was keeping a really close eye on Bristol. I think it was St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes.
It was tied at 25 at halftime. Bristol had a good third quarter. St. Thomas Aquinas came storming back, and I think they ended up winning the game by 8. So Bristol almost gave Lowellville another home district game.
Well, St. Thomas Aquinas plays a really, really good schedule, which prepared them as well. So this will be a fun couple of games. Honestly, Matthews looked really good in their overtime victory against Heartland. And Wellsville is Wellsville. I mean, again, I can't say enough about Bug Thompson and the job that he does in that school. The kids are on board with what they do, and it seems like year after year after year, Wellsville is a team that is just a really tough team to reckon with in the tournaments. And here they are in the district semifinals, and you can honestly now say one of these 4 teams, and I think all 4 of them, can sit back and say, hey, we can win these next couple of games and go to the regional tournament.
Yeah, and then, I don't know. I mean, KFK has got to be a little bit worried about Jackson Milton because they have a couple of pieces that can cause problems. I mean, they have Bacho Jr. in the middle that is a big. I mean, I've talked about him before. He's a big body. He's like 6'5". He's got to be clocking at least 220, 230. He's big. He's strong. And they have a 1,000-point scorer in Mason. So Mason Robinson. I gotta get that right. Robinson. I always say Robinson. That's out of pure muscle memory. Robinson without an N.
Okay.
But so I think JFK's got to focus on Jackson Milton because once again we talked about trap games. Everyone's talking about this McDonald JFK matchup in the championship, but take care of business in the semifinals.
Well, McDonald's got a pretty damn good opponent of their own right in Valley Christian.
They both got to take care of business and not look ahead. I mean, we talked about it during football season, and a couple teams fell into that trap during football playoffs. So you got to make sure that you take care of business in districts before you think about the big matchup in the district finals.
Yeah, Valley Christian and Jackson Milton will be very good opponents for McDonald and Kennedy, respectively, and we'll see what happens there. So there's the gloss over of what's left in our area.
Before we move to talk about the girls' tournament, let's just break down the games that we'll have on YSN on Tuesday, covering for the boys. We will have Jackson Milton versus JFK. Dom will be there. The McDonald School Crew is going to be taking care of their game. They're hosting Valley Christian. Wellsville will be hosting Matthews, as we said. We'll have that one covered. Lowville is going to Bristol. Bristol will cover that themselves as a entity, so they'll be on YouTube. We'll share that link with you. LeBray is at Mooney. Billy Mack will have that call. Newton Falls will be hosting Waterloo. Their school has been doing great work for us, so they'll be taking care of that. And then Paul and Steve, a dynamic duo going to Springfield to do the champion at Springfield game. And then South Range on the road, Pymatuning Valley, their school doing that themselves. So what is that, 6 games on the network for the boys basketball tournaments. $9.99 gets you access to all of them. Plus, we'll also have South Range's regional semifinal in Cuyahoga Falls on the network that night too for the girls' side. So you'll have seven games to choose from that $9.99 will get you access to.
All right, we're going to take a time out. On the other side, we've got girls basketball to talk. We got the regional pairings are all lined up, ready to go, and we'll talk a little bit about that. That's all coming up in a bit. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business, 330-886-0813. 1 o'clock, we'll hear from TV21 Sports Director Dana Balash. At 1:30, YSU men's basketball broadcaster Rob Schmidt will be calling in at 1:30 to preview the YSU Horizon League quarterfinal matchup against Oakland at the Arena in Oakland, Michigan. And then at 2 o'clock, Bob Hannon will talk YSU football. Penguins lose over the weekend to Northern Iowa. The schedule's not getting any easier. Southern Illinois, the Salukis come to town fresh off their ass-kicking that they gave to the Bison, which you don't normally see the Bison lose and get blown out. 39
games, right?
Yeah, 39-game winning streak went out the window in dramatic fashion. I mean, they just beat the snot out of them. You could kind of tell against
Youngstown State they just weren't. They weren't there. They weren't the same North Dakota State team, and we said if you're going to get them, you're going to get them early. And Southern Illinois team.
Yeah, Southern Illinois really put it to them. That was crazy. All right, we'll take a timeout. Be back in a bit to talk girls basketball. Stick around.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Hi, this is Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a brand new or slightly used automobile, you need to let Greenwood Chevrolet. Give them an opportunity to let them earn your business. I promise you, you will not regret that. All right, we've talked about the guys and how they have completed their sectional tournaments to the tune of 16 wins and 9 losses against out-of-town opponents. Now it's time to talk girls basketball. Nobody left in Division I. We have a local team in Division II in Poland, a local team in Division III in South Range, and 2 local teams in Division IV in McDonald and Western Reserve, and one kind of sort of local team that will be a local team next year when they get into a local conference in Garrettsville, Garfield. So let's first off start with the Poland Bulldogs in Division II. We were hoping for a Poland-Salem regional matchup, and it should have been a Poland-Salem regional matchup, except one of the kids from Perry decided to throw up a prayer behind the volleyball line, and the banks were open for a late-night deposit, and Salem goes home in a rather cruel and unusual punishment type of way. But congratulations to Perry. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that shot, it was hit by Madison Hacking, who is also Poland's all-time leading, not Poland, Perry's all-time leading scorer that hit that shot for them. So it was an incredible shot. If you're not a Salem fan, because if you're a Salem fan, don't watch that. It'll give you heartache for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it just it was a wild shot put up and put in.
One of those ones. It was from the volleyball line. So go check it out. It was a crazy buzzer beater.
Yeah.
And my heart breaks for Salem. It really does, because they worked their butt off to get back into that game in the first place, and they finally took a lead after the third quarter. Perry took it back, and then they took another one with a 3 with 4.4 seconds to go.
Yep.
99 times out of 100, you win that game.
Yeah.
And the basketball small G gods weren't on your side. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and you know, give credit to where credit is due. It was in Perry, and the place went absolutely bonkers when she hit the 3. So
I was at 3 district games, and all 3 atmospheres, despite being COVID, backed up, were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I got to give props to the fans for showing up and getting loud, even though there's only 15% allowed in the gym.
All right, let's get to the phone lines. Thanks for waiting. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on?
Ronnie.
What's up?
Can we talk about the football game Saturday?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Ronnie, I know it's early in the year, and some of the kids, we haven't gelled yet, but I think we're looking at something. If we don't fix now, it's going to haunt us for the rest of the 6 games. And it's the failure of the offense to move the ball down the field. We can't go dinking and ducking down the field with trying to play the teams that were on our schedule.
Well, unfortunately, when they try to throw the ball down the field, a quarterback can't get set up because the offensive line is getting overwhelmed.
All right, I'll have to get back to you. I've got an important business call.
All right, there you go. See ya. Yeah, that's we get upstaged by an important business call. Yeah, all right, whatever. We move on. So Poland, they get their victory. They won a district championship.
That was a wild one against Marlington. Punches back and forth.
Yep.
Both teams are very talented, very well coached, I must say. So I can't say that one team outplayed the other. I can't say that one coach outcoached the other. One team gave more effort than the other. It was just, dang, the ball bounced Poland's way, and they got the last shot, and then Marlington missed the buzzer beater by a little bit. So, I mean, it was one of those basketball games that was so evenly matched, evenly played, and Poland's had luck on their side for 2 games in a row.
All right, so Poland will be taking on Perry. That game will be played at Barberton High School. That's the second game. The first game is going to be unbelievable. Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy will be taking on Shaker Heights Laurel on Tuesday afternoon at 5:30 at Barberton High School. That'll be a great game.
Laurel is a lot of people's darling to win the state in the D2 tournament, but I wouldn't sleep on CVCA.
Yeah,
I watched them beat Hoban, preparing for the game that Hoban was playing at South Range. And the CVCA is a dang good basketball team, and Laurel's in for a fight. So I would not automatically assume that the winner of that Poland game is going to automatically just have to play Laurel. I think there's definitely a chance that CVCA knocks them off.
By the way, the same Hoban team that's in the regional semifinals as well, they'll be playing Canton McKinley in Medina on Tuesday at 5:30, where Canton Glen Oak will be playing the host school, Medina. Boy, that's BS. They'll play that game Tuesday night, and then the finals will be on Friday. So, yeah, CVCA is, they've played a pretty impressive schedule. They'll take on Shaker Heights Laurel at 5:30, and then Perry will play Poland on the second game of the doubleheader, and whoever wins will play each other on Friday at 7 o'clock. Hopefully, Poland's in the regional championship game. They're going to have a dogfight. Perry is a very good basketball team.
Perry's good. They don't do anything. They don't do anything great. They do a bunch of things really good, and those teams are dangerous because it's hard to shut down one thing. They execute really well. They're well coached, and when the little film I've been able to watch on them so far, they don't do. There's not like one or two things that, oh man, Perry's really good at this. It's just they do a lot of things really good enough, and those, I think those teams are particularly dangerous. But Poland, I think these two teams match up well. It should be another knockdown, drag-out game because Poland's on that level. So it should be a good one in the Purple Palace down in Barberton.
All right,
Try the chicken.
Wednesday,
right?
we will.
The chicken in Barberton?
Yeah, the chicken in Barberton is ridiculously good. Oh my God, it is so good. Okay, so Wednesday we will have. This is kind of weird that both of these games are supposed to start at 6:15. That's not going to happen.
No.
One game will start at 5:30. The other game will be at 8.
Are you talking about the South Range games?
Yes.
That's Cuyahoga Falls came out and said they are not going to host 2 games in one night, so South Range got moved back to Tuesday at 6:15 from Cuyahoga Falls.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
They just took the game that was scheduled to be first, and they said, boop, Tuesday. So,
interesting.
So South Range will be playing Warrensville Heights on Tuesday at Cuyahoga Falls at 6:15.
Okay. So South Range will play Warrensville Heights. South Range getting their victory over a very game Brookfield team on Saturday.
Brookfield gave him a heck of a fight. It was so much gamesmanship on Running Point on Thursday because we came on the show. We had Jeff Fischel and Ken Forsyth both on. Jeff Fischel hyped up that they were going to be prepared for a man-to-man defense. Ken Forsythe hyped up his man-to-man defense, and they love playing it. And what does Brookfield do? They come out in the zone. 2-3 zone almost the whole game.
There you go.
And you know, love the gamesmanship from the coaches on Running Point. Love it. Love it.
South Range and Warrensville Heights on Tuesday at 6:15 at Cuyahoga Falls High School. And then Garrettsville Garfield, who won their district championship. They will be playing Apple Creek Waynedale, the team that everyone believes is one of the favorites, if not the favorite in this region. They'll play Garrettsville Garfield Wednesday at 6:15. Look, the G-men looked pretty good in the district tournament.
They looked good against Champion, especially because Champion was a team that was coming in hot, had two really monumental momentum-bringing wins in the sectional final and the district semis. So I thought, man, Champion's going to come into Garfield. They only won by 2 last time. They're going to come in and beat the G-men, but G-men kind of took care of them after a little bit of a Champion lead early. Garfield came and really took care of Champion for most of that game, so they looked pretty impressive.
All right, so South Range will play Tuesday, the G-men will play Wednesday, and the championship game will be Saturday afternoon at 1:30. Let's get back to the phone lines. Thanks for waiting. You're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline.
Ronnie, we resume our conversation.
All right, sir. Is everything okay on your business end, sir?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make
Thanks
sure.
For letting me take a business call.
Okay.
You know, in your business, you never know when the calls are going to come in.
Well, you know, I mean, like I said, I mean, I respect the business that you're in, Vince. You know.
Yeah. There we go. But Ronnie, I was just going to expound a little bit on the lack of, how should I say it, Ronnie, offensive movement. I do agree with you. When our quarterbacks go back to pass, they deserve more than 1/10 of a second to get the ball off before they get pummeled.
Well, listen, I mean, the offensive line is the reason why this team is struggling. But let's just be honest right now. The offensive line is young. It's very inexperienced. They're not getting a push to help the running game, and they're not protecting their quarterback so the quarterbacks can throw the ball down the field. And that's the reason why they're dinking and dunking right now. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Right, they hit the nail with the hammer on that one, Ryan. We don't. Our offense doesn't have a fighting chance to execute the play that's called in the huddle because the quarterback's running for his life. No matter which quarterback is in there, whether it's the phenom from Girard or the other guy, he's not getting proper time or a semblance of time to throw the ball down the field. That's why our plays are dinking and dunking, and we're not creating a threat down the field to execute our offense.
Well, and the other problem, and I've said this, and you know, I mean, it's just the reason why Coach Phillips is playing both quarterbacks is because neither quarterback has established themselves as the starter yet. Neither one of them have gotten the separation needed in practice. That's why he is still playing both quarterbacks.
I heard it on another station that they said, well, we have the 2 tight ends in there that we're throwing to our tight ends. If we have our 2 tight ends in there, we should be running the ball.
Well, I mean, you can do that. You can also, have one of them in for pass protection and then have 6 linemen. And then you can have the opportunity to hit a tight end or one of the wide receivers down the field. I think the longest pass they tried to throw down the field was in the fourth quarter, and I think it was a 20-yard pass that was not complete.
I give our defensive credit, but you can't ask those guys that, after the offense goes 3 and out, you name it, then a 6-play drive, then a missed field goal, and then you expect them to come in with the zeal and the veracity to stop the other team. I mean, they're tired. They're not, I'm not putting the emphasis on the defense. I think they did the last 2 games. They did a stellar job.
No, I think if this team had an experienced offensive line, YSU would be 2-0 right now, and unfortunately they don't. So, and until this offensive line gets it together, and it starts getting some cohesiveness, you can expect this offense to continue to struggle. It's unfortunate, but this is the problem when you have a lot of youth. You have a lot of youth in a very important area of the game. You're going to struggle on offense.
Some of the callers that called in on your show on Saturday, they pointed out this very fact that we're talking about, that we don't have the cohesiveness on our offensive line to give us some semblance of a running or a throwing game.
Yeah.
We can't do either.
Yeah, and until the offensive line starts to gel, the problems are going to be there. Now, the couple of calls that, one saying, well, we need to be out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. No, thank you. I love this conference. When this team is ready to play some football, it'll be very competitive, like they always are in the MVFC. And then the other folks that are locals that want to see Wade at quarterback. Well, look, Wade's not playing full time because Wade hasn't separated himself from Craycraft. That's the reason why Coach Phillips is playing both quarterbacks. And neither one lit the house on fire on Saturday. Neither quarterback looked really impressive. And unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with the offensive line not protecting them.
I understand that the incoming freshman class that they had come in, like 16 of them are going to be redshirt this year, and one of them is going to be a quarterback. But that remains to be seen. He's stocking the shelves that were, I couldn't believe it when Colini left, that he left it that bad off.
No, there's plenty of talent on this team. It's just on the offensive line. There was a lot of starters that needed to be replaced. I mean, you got to understand, we lost 4 of our 5 offensive linemen due to graduation or transferring.
Well, it just seems to me, as an outsider looking in and reading and listening to the games, I haven't been at a game obviously yet, but I'm just seeing that we hit that same. You could tell the inflection of the voice of the Penguins when he's calling the game, when it's not going well for us. It's just that it was the same, the same thing happening again and again and again. We're not getting no push from the offensive linemen, whether we're running, or we're not getting no pass protection, whether we're passing the ball. It just seems to me that those coaches by now should have evaluated the linemen. And I understand a couple of them didn't play because of the COVID thing, but the other thing, by now they should have some remnants. Either we're going to run the ball or we're going to pass the ball.
Well, I mean, look, you're a young offensive line, and oh, by the way, you played 2 top 5 teams in the FCS. The schedule has something to do with it as well, Vince.
Right. And there's that one caller that says that we should be out of this league. Does he want us to get in that league with St. Francis and all those mucky-muck teams?
No, I think he was saying something. I think he was saying something about the Ohio Valley Conference, which is a nice conference, but it's not. It's nowhere near as good as the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I mean, I don't want to leave a conference because apparently we're not good enough. That's a BS excuse. I don't want that. I mean, that's a loser mentality. I mean, if we're going to leave a conference, it's going to be for geographical purposes, and if that's the case, then give me the Colonial Athletic Conference, with James Madison and some of the other teams.
Yes.
But I don't want any part of that conference. I'm happy where they are in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I have no problems with this conference. Vince, I got to get going, brother. I got to get going. We're up against it. All right, see ya. 330-886-0813. I don't want this team to leave the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I like this conference. It's okay. They're not playing well right now. Doesn't mean they're not going to play well the rest of the year and into the fall. Good Lord, it's just come on. All right, Division 4. Before we take a break and get Bolish in, Western Reserve will play McDonald. They won their districts and they get to play each other, and the winner gets the winner of Shadyside and Loudonville on Saturday night.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah. So Western Reserve lost to McDonald twice. Okay, you get an opportunity to take care of business and get your team to a regional championship game. I have no idea who wins the Shadyside Loudonville game.
I would pick Loudonville, but it's a toss-up. But this is the third straight year where Western Reserve and McDonald have met in the tournaments. The last 2 years it was the district championship. Now it's the regional semifinals, and they're 1-1. So this is like the tiebreaker.
There you go. And like I said, Western Reserve owes McDonald.
They do. They owe him.
Because they lost to him twice. So
and they lost to him in last year's district championship. So really, they're
0-3
in the last three. So.
Yeah. So this will be entertaining, to say the least. Is there a really good chance that the winner of that game gets to the state semifinals?
Yes. Because Loudonville has an all-state post, but both McDonald and Western Reserve have pretty good post players in that, Molly Howard and Danny Vuletic. So if Loudonville wins, yes, absolutely, there's a pretty good chance that team could win and go to a state semifinal. I don't know enough about Shadyside to see how they would match up with Western Reserve and McDonald.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, to say the least. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, if we have in the last 3 years in regional play 0-4 3 years ago, 1-3 2 years ago, 2-2 last year. We'll see what we can do this year.
We're guaranteed one win.
Well, it's not going to be against an out-of-town team, so. We are guaranteed one team to go to the regional championship game, so we're guaranteed one against a out-of-town opponent.
They're playing each other Thursday. When's their regional championship?
Saturday night at 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Like I said, Poland, they've got an interesting draw. Shaker Heights Laurel is supposed to be the favorite. They might not even get past their game against CVCA. We'll see. South Range playing Warrensville Heights, but Apple Creek Waynedale is the people's choice in that region.
When that region came out, everyone said, okay, South Range, Waynedale, they're going to meet.
Yeah.
That was before South Range got all the injuries and everything else, but everyone kind of expected when the whole region matchup set up that it was going to be Waynedale, South Range, and there's a chance that happens. Warrensville Heights, don't sleep on them. We've talked about them off the air. They beat Norway. They upset Norway. And they upset Elyria Catholic before that.
Yep.
They have 7 people on their roster. They play 5-out offense and just come at you with athleticism, relentless athleticism. They don't really run offensive sets. They just have 5-out. They do basket cuts. They do ball screens. They get half their offense in transition. And they're a really good story because that coach is in his 3rd year, and before they took over, they had 2 straight winless seasons. So they were 0-46 when he took over, and now they've won their first district championship in program history. Oh, by the way, he's gone through a lot himself this year. He was on a podcast last night. I heard the story. He was shot in December, and while recovering from that in the hospital, they found a growth in his kidney that he had to have removed. So, man, you can't write that. You can't write this stuff in a movie.
Yeah.
And make it a script.
Yeah, this is.
They're the sentimental favorites for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I told Coach Fishel, gonna have to put the villain's hat on a little bit.
Well, the other thing is your
South
defense
Range.
is going to have to be very disciplined because the 5-out offense, they feast on backdoor cuts. So you had better be very disciplined and be aware of your surroundings.
Both defenses are going to be very focused on keeping the other team in front of them with athleticism, because both offenses really thrive on athletic moves, the cuts. South Range runs a little bit more of a set, but they still basket cut like crazy, and they get a lot of points in transition as well. So it's going to be which team keeps the other in front more. And Warrensville Heights has proved that they're okay with the superstar scoring. They're going to shut down everybody else. Because in their previous 2 games, they had one girl score 27 against Norway, and Elyria Catholic, they had a girl score 33. So they're okay with one girl getting theirs.
So Lamparty might get 25 or 30, but the rest of the team may not get theirs.
Right.
So be interesting to see what happens. All right, we'll take a timeout. On the other side, 21 Sports Director Dana Balish will join us at 1:30. Rob Schmidt will be on to preview tomorrow night's game between the Penguins and Oakland in the Horizon League quarterfinal matchup. And then at 2 o'clock, we will have the voice of the YSU football Penguins, Bob Hannon, on. Dana Balish coming up next. Stick around. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Local teams are heating up the hardwoods, and you can keep up with all the action on and off the court with Five Guys Hoop News all season long on 21 Sports.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Okay, welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. The J.J. Watt era is now officially, or the J.J. Watt watch is now officially over as J.J. Watt has chosen his team. You want to take a guess as to who they chose?
I didn't know. Can you give me a hint?
It's an NFC team.
Green Bay.
Nope.
Oh, well.
He goes to Arizona.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming either. That was a nasty curveball thrown by J.J. Watt.
They got
he goes
a couple
to the,
of other pass rushers in the draft last year that did them pretty well this year, too.
Yeah.
So that pass rush,
Yep. So J.J. goes to the Arizona Cardinals, and we go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, where we bring in 21 Sports Director Dana Balish. Dana, how are you today, sir?
23 million reasons why he went to Arizona, because he's going to get 23 million guaranteed over a 2-year deal worth 31 million. So
that's $11.5 million a year guaranteed. I'm surprised.
Me too.
That Green Bay or Buffalo, who were rumored, and Tennessee as well, who all three teams were rumored to be on a short list. I'm surprised that none of those three teams could pony up that amount of money to play for their team.
I think this was more of Mr. Watt wanting to go to a nice place to play weather-wise, although he's indoors at Arizona. The off-season at Arizona is very nice. I mean, but that I'm sure that had a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah. Well, look, I mean, he goes to the NFC, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. We wish him well. All right. Over the weekend, lots of high school girls district championship, boys sectional championship games, and lots of interesting finishes, to say the least. We have 4 teams headed to the regionals from our area in girls play, and lots of entertaining district semifinals and potential district championship games in high school basketball for the guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was any surprise that, McDonald and Western Reserve, are going to be playing. It's the first time they're going to play in a regional semifinal instead of the district championship because of the new formula that the OHSAA used this year. Poland winning doesn't surprise me. The way Salem got beat, obviously, that Salem didn't score against Perry in the first quarter. They were down 14-0. Was 21-12 at the break. Then they outscored Perry, to take the lead 30-26, at the end of 3, and then lose on a, 35-footer bank shot. So Salem, a disappointing loss. Would have nice to see them match up against Poland, but it will be Perry. So I don't think, on the girls' side, I really don't see, that many surprises. On the boys' side, again, I don't think there's really too many shocking, surprises. Probably the one, I guess, that shocks me, doesn't shock me, but that opened my eyes a little bit, was Canfield beating Ursuline. So Canfield gets another home game. They'll take on Chardon Thursday night in what will be not a rematch, but a rematch of schools from the football playoffs. So, I think everything's pretty much on schedule the way we thought it would be.
Well, Dana, first of all, I want to give a shout out to your team. I was out all day. I saw they were out all day on Saturday in a busy day of sports. You even had people at the YSU football game as well. So I want to give props to your team for putting the time in on Saturday and a very busy day for the media. When you look at this regional for girls basketball, and obviously we can't get 4 teams in the regional finals because 2 teams are playing each other. Do you think we have a legitimate shot of going 3 for 3 in teams in the regional finals?
It's so hard. I mean, we're going to get 1 team in the regional finals. I mean, McDonald or Western Reserve will go. South Range is taking on a Warrensville Heights team, which I know nothing about, but the type of basketball up in the greater Cleveland area is pretty good, girls basketball. Perry, again, don't know much about. They were the top overall seed. Lakeview or Salem, again, only scored in 3 quarters and really should have won the game. McDonald, Western Reserve, we know how good McDonald's was going to be. We knew Western Reserve was going to be there. Again, does the adage come in? It's difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. I think McDonald beat Western Reserve by 7 and 5 points in the 2 regular season meetings. So, it's hard to tell. We are guaranteed at least 1 team in the regional finals. Not sure exactly what's going to happen, with the other 2 teams. It's just so hard to tell at this point. Both Perry and Poland are coming off, huge wins on Saturday. They got to come right back tomorrow night and play. So it's tough. It's tough to kind of see where everything is with that.
Dana, as we go forward next basketball season, do you think that they're going to remain with the 2 districts combined into one big one? Because it seems to me it worked out incredibly well for the girls looking back on this. And looking at the guys' district matchups, I like this format. I really like this format a lot.
Well, it's funny. I had a conversation with someone down at the state last week, and I said, "Is there some stuff you guys can take away from this pandemic year that really you think could be utilized when things are normal or carry on?" And they're going to look at everything. I think the state's going to look at a lot of things. I love the idea of playing the districts at the school that has, home court, so to speak. I think that's a great idea. I think that adds to the importance of seeding. And again, I think the only troublesome part with this is, you're voting on teams that maybe you haven't played, you don't know too much about. And look, you could be a D2 school and have a 17-1 record all against D4 schools. So I think the coaches have to do their homework a little bit. Not that they haven't, but I think they have to do their homework a little bit. I think they have to. But I like this idea. I like the non-neutral site of playing the districts. I really like it, and I think that's something that they will really look at. The only downside to that, Ron, is the Canton Fieldhouse, which is probably one of the best venues in the state of Ohio for basketball, is not being used this year. And those D3 and D4 schools that used to play there, I mean, that's a special place. It's that old arena with the second deck, and you're hanging over, the fans in the first. It's just a great basketball venue. That's not being used this year. So I think that's one of the downfalls of this season, as far as the regionals. But I really like the way things have transpired. I like the way football worked with the home field. I certainly like the way basketball did. And I think it's something they'll consider and look at.
Has the state announced officially the regional spots for the boys tournaments?
They have not announced those sites. They're working. Oh yeah, the boys sites have been announced. Yes, the boys sites have been announced, and Division I will go to Medina High School. Division II will go to Barberton, where the girls are. Division III is going to Medina they did announce this. I don't know them off the top of my head, but the Canton Fieldhouse is not being used. And maybe Twinsburg is 1 and 3. And Division IV is, I can't recall. So I think Divisions 1 and 3 are at Twinsburg, and Divisions 2 is at Barberton, where the girls is, and Division 4, I'm not sure exactly where Division 4 is. I can't recall that. I'm going to see if I could locate that real quick here.
Is it Maslin Perry?
No, that's the girls.
Okay.
At Maslin Perry. Division 4 locally is going to be at Akron Firestone. Akron Firestone High School.
Okay. So obviously the Canton Fieldhouse, it's a special place, like you said, for D3 and D4. They're switching off this year. In all likelihood, a money thing, but hopefully next year, when Corona is finally kicked to the curb, it will go back to the normal regional format, at least hopefully.
Well, you just got to look. You just don't know. I think, Ron. I think. I don't know. I mean, I think it's got to be looked at. I mean, look. I would think that these schools who are hosting the regionals, there's something in it for them to say, okay, we're going to do this next year too. I don't know anything. I just think that's going to happen. I mean, if things get back to normal, these regionals bring thousands of people, and those schools have a chance to make some money, for some things. So I don't know. I think this is going to be something that they're going to look at and try to keep the regionals at high schools, because look, you go to the Canton Civic Center, and I've been there many of times, and it's a terrible place to cover a game. It's not a true basketball venue. The parking is not very good. So I think, but again, with that being said, the Canton Fieldhouse is one of the great places to go to.
When you look at, now we're talking about YSU football and the way that game went, and a lot of people have called even this show today and to talk about the offensive struggles. What are some? Let's talk about some positives that the Penguins can take away from that game, and some things that you saw that give you a little bit of optimism for not just their season going forward, but also what they'll put out in the field in the fall.
Well, I think first of all is the defense is really, really playing well. You hold Northern Iowa to 21 points. They were in the red zone, a couple of more times and probably could have had some touchdowns. I think the secondary is really playing well. Are they getting pressure on the quarterback? Probably not as well as they should. But when you look at the overall picture, I think the defense is really playing well. I thought the special teams, went, from a B plus probably to a D minus. The Australian kicker had 2 good punts, but he had 3 terrible punts. They had a missed field goal, so that kind of took that down. Offensively, it's no secret they're struggling. Some people have asked me, why don't they throw the ball downfield? Well, you need separation with your receivers, and you need time, and they're just not getting the time. The offensive line is being overwhelmed in the first 2 games. Southern Illinois comes to town on Saturday, who just, dominated North Dakota State, so it's going to be another stern test. But the positive is that I think the kids have a great attitude after 2 games. I think you need improvement. I think, in my opinion, this is an evaluation period for Coach Phillips and his staff. And I know you want to win games, and he wants to win games, and everyone wants to win games, but I think this is more of an evaluation. Do you have a quarterback? Don't you have a quarterback? Who's your quarterback? In true numbers, Mark Wade has better numbers, but you got to look at field position. You got to look at where you're starting drives, and everything that probably could go wrong for YSU, at least on the field. They haven't. They've scored 7 points in 2 games, and do they have that breakaway receiver? Do they have that possession receiver? I think this is, and again, I think this is an evaluation period for the fall.
And it's unfortunate, and I said this on the 5th quarter show on Saturday, it's unfortunate that neither quarterback has stepped up and separated themselves from the other guy, so Coach Phillips can simply go to that one quarterback to play as the true starter. And that's the reason why we're still seeing both starters, is the fact that Mark Wade and Joe Craycraft, neither one have stepped out in practice and separated himself from the other guy.
Well, and again, Ron, you've been around sports a long time. The old adage is when you play 2 quarterbacks, that means you don't have one quarterback. And I don't know if that's the case here. I think, the McLaughlin kid, has shown that he could, be a breakaway running back. But he has to get into some space. And, you need your quarterbacks to, look, we've been around here a long time. When Wade's in, he's probably going to run the ball, and when you see Craycraft in, he's probably going to pass. And coaches are smart. Coaches see that on tape, and the defense is aware of that as well. So, I think, you got to do something to get some to generate some offense, and whether that is going to the back page of the playbook and pulling out some razzle-dazzle or, something of that nature, or just, you look, you can't run the ball because your offensive line can't move the guys. You can't pass it because your offensive line can't, the other team is very well aware this is a young team. So, you got to figure something out, and I know the coaching staff is going to be in the the office trying to figure what they can do. And again, is there some razzle-dazzle? Do you surprise the defense? Ron, and again, I've watched both games, and I can't remember them throwing downfield over 20 yards in either game.
Yeah, the one pass, and it was 20 yards down the field late in the game. And I think it was Craycraft that threw the ball, but that's it. That's the only time I saw Youngstown State throw the ball 20 yards down the field on Saturday in their loss to Northern Iowa. Dana Ball is 21 Sports Director, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Dana, as we look at the Horizon League basketball tournament for the men and the women, Both teams will be in action tomorrow. YSU women will be traveling to Milwaukee, and the YSU men will be traveling to Oakland. Both teams looking to get to the Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis. Both teams, they have a shot. They have a pretty decent shot at getting to the semifinals.
Well, I think first of all, Ron, with the women, it's you haven't played at Milwaukee, and I think that's where, and Milwaukee hasn't seen Youngstown State as well, and usually when you're in the tournaments, you will see a team that you played during the regular season. So Milwaukee has the number 2 seed. They've played really, really well. I mean, YSU, and Coach Barnes said it. He goes, look, we're going to have to play a near perfect 40 minutes to advance. If the ball got to bounce your way, you got to get some breaks, and that's the formula to beat a good team on the road when it's one and done. As far as the men now, they've seen Oakland. They got beat by Oakland twice during the regular season. Both those games were in Oakland. Again, let's go back to the old adage. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in the same year. YSU got beat, I think, by, I don't know, what was it, 16 or 17, in game 1, and then came right back and played better and lost by 7 or 8. So, it's that mentality. I think there's no pressure on either team. There's a lower seed. That's the way you got to look at it. I mean, but, you just got to have shots fall. You need 3-4 guys in double figures. The key to stopping YSU is Quisenberry, is Naz Bohannon, and Michael Accouche. So I think, if those 3 players can score in the double figures and stay out of foul trouble, then I think both teams, I think YSU, the men, have a great chance. And again, the women, you just don't know what to expect. I haven't seen Milwaukee this year, but obviously their record speaks for itself.
We also, we need to talk about YSU baseball a bit because they were on YSN. They really competed against LSU, especially in Game 2, where the Tigers needed a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th to beat the Penguins. And then they salvaged the weekend with a win on Sunday over Nichols. So what do you see from the baseball team, and how important are those games going forward? Because I got to imagine it gives them a lot of confidence even going toe-to-toe with LSU.
The thing for Coach Bertolini is, I mean, this is practice and preseason for him. I mean, teams down in the South are playing baseball 12 months a year. I mean, granted, YSU can be indoors in the watch, but that's not the same thing as competing, seeing real pitching, competing against, outdoors and so on and so forth. So, I always look at the first 20 games for, the YSU baseball team and say, okay, this is practice for them. When the conference starts, then that's when it starts for real. I mean, it comes down to solid pitching. You need the timely hitting. It's nothing new. There's no formula for that. But again, YSU is probably, it seems like, LSU, they're probably 2 to 3 months behind just because, they're not playing baseball or practicing in December, January, and February. I mean, they're indoors, and that's not the same thing. I mean, for teams like Nicholls State and LSU, I mean, they're outside. They're on a real diamond, and that's a big difference in my opinion.
Hey, Dana, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you next week, sir.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. 21 Sports Director Dana Ballas joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Okay, Rob Schmidt telling me that he's in a meeting until 2, so we're going to get him on at 2:30, not 1:30. So
we had some time to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, and we brought up YSU, friend of the show, Alan Dunn, he's the pitching coach for, yes, he's the pitching coach for LSU, and I asked him, I said, what'd you think about the Penguins? And he told me, he says, they're a good team. They played hard. They competed. Good arms out there. They ran some good arms against us, and they're fundamentally sound.
And I said this off the air, I think especially their bullpen and their relievers pitched really well. I mean, both LSU games, they went down 2-0 to start the game. You take those 2 runs away, it's a super competitive game. You take the 2 runs away in this game 2, then YSU might win that game because they'd be up 3-1 in the 9th instead of being tied. and then the 2-run home run would have tied the game instead of giving LSU the win. So I know when someone gives a walk-off and then someone says their relievers are playing really well, you go, blah, blah, blah. But I really thought the pitchers pitched really well, especially in those two games after giving up the early 2-0 lead in both of them. So
they get off to a better start.
I was impressed. If you compete with LSU, that's got to be a big, big momentum build, because that means if you play like that, there's no one in the Horizon League that can touch you.
Well, I mean, Wright State played Vanderbilt really, really well. So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, the conference is going to be fun, and it's going to be a great matchup for everyone.
Both those matchups you just talked about are just big feathers in the cap for the Horizon League. Big eye-openers for people around the country of how good of a mid-major conference the Horizon League is in baseball.
Yeah, the Penguins just got to get off to a better start.
Yeah.
And offensively, they got to get off to a better start as well. But, they dropped 3 out of 4 this weekend. They lost to Nicholls State on Friday, but lost both games to LSU Friday night and Saturday. Salvaged the final game of the series against Nicholls State. So they're 2-6 going into the conference play.
Did you see the catch that their right fielder made?
No.
Look it up. I'm not gonna, it was in the second LSU game. By the way, they were wearing the camo unis. Love them. And it was a great catch and right.
Our guy or LSU's guy? Our guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a good team. It's just unfortunately, you got to get off to a better start, and we'll see that.
There's the little things that you can work on, because you're playing LSU, you're playing Nicholls, and you can really, like Dana said, this is kind of preseason, kind of sharpening your tools a little bit, getting ready for conference play, and that's exactly what it is. You look at the little things. Hey, how can we start off a game differently? How can we pitch with a little bit more intensity to start off a game in the first inning? How can we avoid giving up 2 runs in the first inning right off the bat before our offense even touches the bats? So those are the little things that Coach Bertolini can look at, and I'm sure you guys will talk about those little things tomorrow when he calls in.
Yeah, tomorrow it's going to be really sunny but cold, high of 39, but you can be out on the field at 39 degrees if it's it's sunny. Again, no problems with that. Plenty of sunshine. Winds are going to be somewhat calm. So 39 degrees with plenty of sunshine. It'll feel a lot like 50 degrees. So 50 degrees on Wednesday. That'll be nice. 35 degrees on Thursday, and then they travel for the weekend. So an opportunity for these guys to get on the field instead of staying inside in the Watts, and we'll see what happens when the Penguins open up their conference play this weekend.
And while we're talking about the ball and stick sports, I want to give a shout out to a couple of YSN alums that played pretty well this weekend. Allison Smith for Champion started her first game at Ohio State, and all she did was hurl a complete game and strike out nine hitters against Iowa to get her first collegiate win. And then Sophie Howell from Champion as well also got her first collegiate win for YSU on Sunday. So we're proud of the YSN alum, I should say. Conchetta Rinaldi also doing some good things from Mooney for YSU. So we just want to keep updated on those girls, and as the season goes along, keep posting on the other ones that are YSN alumni that are doing things that we're proud of. So
yeah, and certainly a good start for the YSU women. They finally get some games in under their belt.
You kind of expected them to be a little bit rusty on the first day on Saturday, because it was literally their first game of the seasons. But Sunday they really bounced back nicely and won both games on Sunday to split the weekend series with Norfolk State down in Virginia.
All right, one of the other kids that we're going to keep an eye on from the area is Drake Bacho. Drake is off to a 0-2 start, 3 2/3 innings. He pitched at Clemson on February the 20th and at Western Kentucky 1 week later. He has gone a combined 3 2/3 innings. He's not given up a hit, though he's given up 2 runs, both of them earned because he's been wild. 5 walks. given up by Bacho, 3 strikeouts and 1 wild pitch. So the numbers are a little high because of the fact that he's been a little inconsistent in the strike zone during the season. But he's a junior and he is a draft eligible player. This is a kid that scouts are telling me that he may very well be drafted this year. But for him to be drafted, he's going to have to put it in the strike zone a little bit more often. But it's early on in the campaign, so we'll see what happens there. But when it's cold and first couple of starts, you're not going to be throwing the ball that often. I mean, you have a certain pitch count because you're just starting your season out. You're not doing yourself any favors if you're not finding the strike zone. So that a lot of pitches are going to be used because you're not throwing very many strikes. You're going to be throwing a lot more pitches, and that's going to be a lot less time on you on the mound.
Especially strikes early in the count. I mean, you can be a little bit wild if you get ahead 0-1 or 0-2, but you got to make sure that early in the count you're hitting your spots and putting in the strike zone, making the batter the one on their heels instead of you being the one trying to catch up down in the count 2-0.
Yeah, the first pitch strikes are huge in all sports or in all of baseball, but especially in college ball. First pitch strikes are incredibly important, and you got to take care of that. When we get Rob Schmidt on at 2:30, we can run through the Horizon League tournament, and again, the quarterfinals are going to be at the sites of the higher seed. So we can tell you that the 1 seed Cleveland State is going to be taking on the team that did an upset in the first round, and that's Purdue Fort Wayne. They beat Green Bay in double overtime. Purdue Fort Wayne, the 10 seed. So Cleveland State will be playing the 10 seed, Purdue Fort Wayne. Northern Kentucky is the 4. They'll play the 5, Detroit. Oakland is the 3 seed. They'll host number 6, YSU. The 2 seed, Wright State, will now be hosting number 8, Milwaukee, who knocked off IUPUI. So they get reseeded for the semifinals. So let's say Cleveland State beats Purdue Fort Wayne. They would go to the semifinals, and they would take on the lowest seed, which, if it's chalk the rest of the way, it would be Northern Kentucky. If Youngstown State were to pull off an upset against Oakland, but Northern Kentucky and Wright State both won, then YSU would be playing Cleveland State in the semifinals at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum on Monday, March the 8th. So that's where we stand with that. We'll have Rob on at 2:30 to talk about the Horizon League tournament.
And we are just 2 weeks away from the selection show, so March Madness is right around the corner.
Yeah, indeed.
It's a little bit behind than it usually is because it usually starts on the last weekend of February. But
yeah,
now
March Madness will be
the selection show's
the 14th. Yeah.
Right? So the playing games are probably that Tuesday.
Yes.
And then the tournament starts that Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah. So March the 18th, the day after St. Patty's Day, will be the first round of the tournament.
I'll have games on.
Well,
on that
you
Thursday,
think?
On that Thursday.
Yeah. You think? You're going to be sitting back here going, I'm not paying any attention to you, Ron.
I'm sorry, Ron.
I'm just watching this game.
You're going to see me.
Yeah. And I'm just watching this game from sight around Indianapolis because we're not going to play any games other than Indianapolis. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right, we'll take a timeout. Open some phone lines up 330-886-0813. Back in a bit.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired. Be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The sirens are going off. Apparently, we've got the volunteer fire departments going on.
There's a tornado in the area.
Oh no! Don't even go there with that. That's not even funny. That's and now you're going to get everyone all jacked up and excited about that. That's terrible.
Oh,
yeah.
come
That's
on.
No, that's not even funny.
You're smiling a little bit.
It's not funny. I'm not
you're
smiling.
Chuckling. You're chuckling.
I'm not smiling about that.
I got you.
I'm not smiling about that. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open for business. We made mention the J.J. Watt lottery is officially over. The Arizona Cardinals signing J.J. Watt to a 2-year deal. And I kind of like scratched my head, and then I thought to myself, wait a second. Arizona's got some pretty good pass rushers on that team, and now they just added another one. Man, Arizona's looking like a really good football team right now.
Yeah, if they can protect Kyler Murray and stop him from having to run for his life and make plays with his legs a little bit less than he did last year, because he can make plays with his legs, no doubt about it. But, he had to do it a little bit more than I think Arizona would want him to last season. So a little bit better up front on the offensive side. Definitely he has the receiver weapons there, so that's good. Maybe a little bit better running game, help out the pass rush. I think they're looking good. They're going to make a couple more moves. I think you don't make the J.J. Watt move if you don't have some other things planned to really build up that caliber and make your run with it. Because I don't think J.J. Watt wants to go somewhere that's the only move they're going to make, and they're just going to be sitting there and we'll try to compete for a conference. Not a conference, a division championship.
Well, look, I mean, $23 million guaranteed. That means he's guaranteed $11.5 million. That's not too shabby.
I still think Arizona probably told him, like, we're gonna make a run for this, and I feel like J.J. Watt wouldn't go somewhere unless they were like, yeah, we're gonna get serious and we're gonna make a run for a championship.
Well, they weren't a playoff team, so they get a reasonably high draft pick.
They were right there. They were right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were one of the first playoff teams out, so they should be
they'll be in the low 20s.
Right.
Yeah, low 20s with a draft pick. So that's, hey, look, more power to them. Actually, no, they're going to be like the mid-teens because there were 7 teams in the playoffs this year. So that's 14 minus 38, 2 is 18. So they'll be in the mid-teens selecting. So that's a good move. That's a good move for Arizona.
He's going to come. I don't think he's going to be like an every down player. He's going to come in on the pass rush downs.
Yeah.
And
well, it's a solid move. It's a solid move for the Arizona Cardinals. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was either going to be Green Bay, Buffalo, or Tennessee, and they threw a curveball. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, Ron?
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man.
I'm good. Hey, I'm enjoying the YSU season now, and I hear you on the fifth.
Yeah, the fifth quarter.
Yeah, but it was just not too much to say, But I'll tell you what, I like the interview with Dana. He said, if you play two quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Well, and unfortunately, that's what's going on right now. And I'll repeat what I said. I mean, Craycraft and Wade. And look, there was a couple of people that called in, and I'll say it, they're homers. And they want the local kid to play the game. I understand that. I get that. But I'll repeat what I said earlier, and if it offends people, tough shit. I don't care. Look, I have no interest in just playing local kids because they're local kids.
Absolutely.
I only want to play local kids because they've earned the right to be the starter at that position. This isn't high school anymore. You're now in college. In college, I don't care about the local stuff from that regard. If you're good enough to start, okay, great, have at it. That's wonderful. But I'm not playing someone locally just because you're a local kid.
But they've done that around the league, even in your big time colleges and even in your pros. They have done, like I was sitting here trying to think, the two quarterbacks. I remember Pittsburgh tried it once to see who was going to pan out. The 49ers, when Young was there, they didn't really do that. But I was just looking at some of the places where they did do that,
Yeah.
I think when Tim Tebow was with
Dallas
Denver.
used to do it.
Dallas used to do it with Craig Morton and Roger Staubach.
Right. Well, I'm just saying it has been done, not like, when I like the way he said that, but it has been done around the league.
New Orleans is doing it right now.
Well, New Orleans won't do it if Drew Brees decides to come back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? And before I get off, I'm going to get my stuff in first, and I want you guys to name me your top 5 quarterbacks, okay? I've been having discussions with it. But anyway, I can see what you were saying where YSU possibility of being 2-0 because I'm looking to see now, they were ranked 8th, UNI and Missouri State below them. Now, UNI, who we played, but who just knocked off North Dakota State?
The team that we're playing on Saturday, Southern Illinois.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They just knocked them off, okay?
Yeah.
And then you have like the Southern Illinois, they beat North Dakota State. Okay?
Yeah, they buried North Dakota State.
Right.
So,
and see, now we got Missouri State in the middle of April sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, I was looking at our schedule, and I'm just saying it's not like we're on a losing slide, is what I'm saying. Because if you can see these teams, and are they that much better? We don't know right now. I'll admit, like you said, our line, And even though I think COVID hit a couple of our players too?
I think it has. Yeah. I think it has.
Okay.
Well, look, if the offensive line were a veteran unit, I'm pretty comfortable in saying this would be a 2-0 team right now. Okay. Unfortunately, they're not. Defensively, we're there. Defensively, this team is all ready to compete and is competing against the best of the best in this conference. They're there. Offensively, unfortunately, you've got a very inexperienced offensive line, and those that don't understand football that think, well, it's only the offensive line. No, that's the main part of success or failure on your offense. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to have a good offense.
And see, I've always been the type where your defense, they would like to look up at the scoreboard and see at least 17 points up there. That's me.
Yeah.
This is the way I feel. Hey, let's go back out there and get it. Now they have this attitude. They say, look, we get the ball, give it back to the offense. They're going to start clicking. Coaches stay with them, stay up in their minds, and keep these guys motivated. I've always been on board because I'm a YSU guy, but I'm kind of enjoying this season right here, man. It's really good.
Should be fun. I mean, it's not going to get any. It's not going to get any easier. You got Southern Illinois this Saturday, South Dakota State next Saturday, and oh, by the way, this North Dakota State team is pretty impressive as well. They're now 2-0, so it's not going to get any easier on this schedule.
I understand. Hey, okay. Wait a minute. Okay, I want you, each one of you guys, give me your top 5 quarterbacks in the football league this year.
This year or coming into this year?
No. The 2020.
Okay.
And see now, there's a definition of top 5. You know, you can go by.
Like how are we?
stat.
Are we doing like this pure physical talent wise, or everything that goes in the quarterback, or like how? What are we? What kind of list are we making?
That's what I'm talking about. Your top 5. Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. Tom Brady says he wants people he can trust. Okay. He didn't say he wanted the biggest, the fastest, and all. He wants people who he can trust. This is what I'm talking about. Your top 5 quarterbacks.
Well, Tom Brady went and did it. He beat Aaron Rodgers on the road. He beat Drew Brees on the road, and then he beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Okay. I know there were a lot of their defense played really well, and I get it, but I don't think they win the Super Bowl without Tom Brady there as quarterback.
Okay.
He's number 1. I mean, he's the GOAT. Ron doesn't agree, but
he's not even the top 5 right now.
He is.
Oh my goodness!
He won a Super Bowl for a reason.
He's not even in the top 5
and
for this year. He's not in the top 5.
If you put Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers ahead of him when he went out and beat them,
he didn't beat them.
He did.
He didn't beat them. Their defense destroyed Rodgers. He didn't beat them.
Okay, but what rose the defensive level to that play? It's Tom Brady being in that building.
I think he had something to do with that, but the defense was always good.
Good, not great. Not
bull crap. It wasn't great. It was a top 10 defense when Tom Brady came to Tampa. That was already a top 10 defense.
Last season, it was 14th overall. And it was like top 10 in like 2 or 3 categories.
It was a top 10 defense that had not been for Jameis Winston throwing 30-some-odd interceptions.
Wait, let's just do this. 2, Patrick Mahomes. 3, Aaron Rodgers. 4, Drew Brees. And 5,
That's my question mark. You went right where I'm going.
I'll put 5. I'll put Josh Allen at 5 for this 2020 season.
Okay, so if I'm going
who you put as 5?
Josh Allen.
So I'm basing this on just 2020 alone.
Absolutely.
Mahomes is 1.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is 2.
Okay.
Josh Allen is 3.
Okay.
Oh boy. 4 and 5.
By the way, Mahomes was 4th in MVP voting.
Yeah.
So, there were apparently, according to the writers, there were 3 other quarterbacks that were better than him.
Well, Rodgers, Allen, and Mahomes were the final 3. So I don't know how he got to 4th.
There was Lamar Jackson ahead of him.
They put Lamar Jackson ahead of him?
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with these people? No, hell no. Breeze had a terrible year this year, so I'm not even putting him in the top 5. I guess I'll put Brady in the top 5, even though again it was more of his defense, but he had a solid year, so I would put him in the top 5. Jeez, the 5th one I'm having a hard time trying to come up with.
Absolutely,
I'm having a hard time coming up with one.
Absolutely.
I mean, the 3 no-brainers for me were Mahomes, Rodgers, and Allen, and you can put them in any order you want to. Although I wouldn't put Josh number 1. He's made himself a top 5 quarterback in the league now. But he's still got a ways to go before he catches Rodgers or Mahomes.
Okay, see that number 5 can be a question, but I'm going with your friend right there. No, I have to have Brady in there. I'm sorry. All the way down, Mahomes. I know you said I'm a Drew Brees, and
Deshaun Watson had a real nice year, but he was padding a lot of stats with some fourth quarter stuff because his team was terrible. Yeah, but I mean, Deshaun Watson had a really, really good year. I'd say Roethlisberger had a real nice year. Now, unfortunately, and a friend of the show, Aditi Kinkabwala, mentioned this. You know, you better put a running game behind Ben because he's below 500 when the Steelers rush for under 100 yards. Well, Baker Mayfield's 3-9. You can say the same thing about a lot of quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield in his career is 3-9 when the Browns run for under 100 yards. Josh Allen in his career is 7-10 when the Bills don't get 100 yards rushing. And Roethlisberger's under 500. I would venture to say most, if not all, of the quarterbacks are under 500 when they don't have a running game.
And see, that's the discussion I was having and back and forth. And you mentioned the guy who they wanted to put in the top 5, and I said no.
Normally I'd put Russell Wilson up there, but Russell Wilson had a bad year.
Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate the first half of the year. Then the Seahawks, for whatever reason, decided, we don't want to throw the ball anymore. We're just going to run the ball. You talk about a guy, Ron, and they're finally now starting to say, I want the hell out of Seattle. And I don't blame Russell Wilson in any way, shape, or form. Because if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm looking at this organization and going, why is it that you guys want to run the ball? And then when we're down 3 or 4 points, you're looking at me to save our ass when you can have me throw the ball down the field 25, 30, 35 times a game, and we would be a 13-win type of season. Right. If I were Russell Wilson, I would demand a trade right now. And here's a deal that I would do if I were Seattle, and I know it was rumored over the weekend. How about this one? Russell Wilson to Dallas for Dak Prescott and Dallas's first-round pick.
What? Okay.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Okay.
If I were Dallas, I'd do that in a heartbeat. If I were Seattle, I'd look at that and go,
It might open up Jerry Jones' eyes.
Well, I mean, to get an extra first-round draft pick. If I'm Seattle, I'm looking at this and, because if you really want to run the football, then okay. But I just Russell Wilson, to me, he's been so misused in Seattle. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to go to Dallas. That place is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, but I mean, they got Zeke Elliott as a running back, so you can hand the ball to him.
Russell Wilson will go there, and then Dallas will be like, "We're going to run the ball."
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, what are you kidding me here?
But then they'll have a better running. I mean, Russell Wilson's whole career in Seattle, he's kind of been an afterthought. You think about when he got there, it was all about the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
And their secondary and their defense.
Yeah.
And then it was about Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
And then it's like he's never been like. Even though he's been kicking butt pretty much since his first year in the league.
Yeah.
He went to the Super Bowl his first year, right?
I agreed, yeah.
And he was drafted in what round?
And he was
drafted in the 3rd or 4th round.
He hasn't won an MVP yet. He hasn't even voted for an MVP yet.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have any MVP votes.
It's because his passing numbers aren't anything to write home about because he doesn't throw the ball because Pete Carroll likes to run the ball. Go figure. I mean, now, if I were... And let's say Russell Wilson starts saying I'm in a demand to trade, and this is going to be an unpopular take in Cleveland, and I understand this, but if I were Cleveland, I would sit back and call Seattle, not today, not tomorrow, right freaking now, and I'd say, here's Baker Mayfield, here's our first-round draft pick, give us Russell Wilson.
You said you wouldn't give up a lot for Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson is pretty much, a more veteranized version of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but you know what?
Would you give up the farm? Would you give up the farm for Russell Wilson?
But you know what I would do with Russell Wilson? You got Landry and you got all these other guys, and by the way, we can also hand the ball off to Nick Chubb on occasion, but let her rip. Let you do
They're not getting rid of Baker. Come on now.
I understand they aren't, but it's an unpopular decision. But you know as well as I do, Ron, it would be an upgrade if they traded away Baker for Russell.
Wait a minute. Baker has not done anything to say pack your bags.
No, but
it would be an upgrade.
The logistics aside of that trade and how much the Browns would have to give up and how detrimental that would be.
There you go.
Just based on quarterbacks, it would be an upgrade, but it's not worth it for the Browns just to upgrade.
Well, it's the same thing with Deshaun Watson. It would look good, except for the fact, number one, you'd have to give up way too many first-round draft picks, so you'd give up your draft capital. And number two, Wilson is making significantly more money than Mayfield is. So then you would be sapping up your $30 million in cap money that you have that you're probably going to be spending on the back seven. So it doesn't make any sense to do it from that perspective. But from an upgrade, it would be a big time upgrade.
Yeah, you can't sit here and tell me that Russell. You can't sit here and tell me that you don't think Russell Wilson is just straight up a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry, he's a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
Okay, guys. All right. Okay, guys.
It would be, but look, Cleveland's in really good shape, Ron. Honest to God, $30 million to play with.
Don't touch Baker or anything. He's got it working. He found a formula. Don't touch him.
Just work on your back seven.
I'm on the Baker train. I'm sorry.
But he's not a better quarterback than Russell.
No, he isn't. Hell, he's not a better quarterback than Josh Allen.
He's still growing. He's still growing.
You're right, okay. and this will be his fourth year, and we'll see what happens. But if I were Cleveland, and again, I'll look at it objectively, I would be very concerned about the fact that he's 3-9 when the Browns don't run for 100 yards, and the three teams that you've beaten are three dogs: Cincinnati twice and the New York Jets. So you haven't beaten anybody of substance when the Browns rush for under 100 yards. Where Buffalo, two of their first two playoff games, they didn't run for 100 yards. They beat Indianapolis, they beat Baltimore, despite not running for 100 yards. So it's, but I will say this: Cleveland is in as good a shape as Buffalo is, and could be better if they spend their $30 million or most of their $30 million on getting a couple of DBs or one linebacker and one DB, and concentrate on the draft on their defensive side of the ball. They could be in better shape than Buffalo going into 2021.
Okay, agreed upon that.
They could be. Okay. We'll see.
All right. Okay, guys.
All right, sir. Appreciate it.
Take care, my friend.
All right, man. You too. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. I'm just glad the J.J. Watt lottery is over, even though they threw us a curveball at the end.
He had a lot of fun with it on social media.
Oh my God, he did. And he had his wife eating buffalo wings when everyone in the Bills Mafia lost their mind. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he's having a blast with this. But, as it turns out, he goes to Arizona. And don't look now. Arizona might very well be crashing the party when it comes to getting a postseason together and getting this team to win the West. Although the Rams and the Seahawks, they're going to be tough to beat, and the Niners aren't chopped liver either. That division's awesome.
Everyone thinks, the Niners. Well, remember, the Niners were absolutely just decimated by injury this year. They're coming back strong.
Bosa's coming back.
They'll be a factor in that NFC East. Don't you worry about it, especially if they trade Garoppolo and get a better quarterback.
Well, look, Garoppolo's not the problem. Garoppolo's
but he's also not the solution either.
Well, I mean, he's
just kind of in there. He can do things for you, but he's not gonna. He proved it. He's not gonna win a Super Bowl because he had the throw and he missed it.
Yeah, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see what transpires. But like I said, I'm glad the J.J. Watt lottery is now over. J.J. Watt signs with the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Speaking of football, Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football Penguins, coming up next. Stick around. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Ruud gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Ruud, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Wind is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
To Greenwood Chevrolet.
because they really went
The extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, the voice of the YSU football Penguins, Bob Hannon. Bob, how are you today, sir?
Ron, I'm doing very well for a Monday. Yourself?
I can't complain. Cannot complain. All right, Saturday afternoon, Youngstown State taking on Northern Iowa, and it was more of the same offensively. The Penguins just couldn't get anything going offensively. The offensive line was not protecting the quarterbacks very well. They weren't blowing out any holes for the running game, and unfortunately, the Penguins only mustered 135 yards of total offense, and for a second consecutive week, the defense played really, really good football, and unfortunately, nothing to show for it.
Ron, when you look at the offense, quarterbacks take a lot of the blame. That's just the way it is, and a lot of the praise. But we were there. I mean, receivers weren't open. Didn't have a lot of time to throw. Only sustained drive was early in the third quarter when they were getting rid of the ball quickly and throwing to the tight ends, and unfortunately we missed a field goal. So I think it's all the offense. I think the coaches have to take some of the criticism, and maybe the game plan has to be changed. But the O-line playing without Becker, the best lineman, just no time. I thought the running plays were very slow developing and didn't give the backs a chance. But you're right, 2 straight weeks, total of 7 points, and unfortunately wasted a good defensive performance. We were only down 6-0, early in the fourth quarter, still very much in that game.
There's been a lot of talk today on Running Point about the quarterback situation, and Ron has made it clear that, neither quarterback has really shined above the other one in either practice nor game. But at some point, you have to imagine you got to make a choice and give one guy the reins and tell one guy, we believe in you, and give one of the quarterbacks just that confidence of having to not look over his shoulder all the time to see if the other guy's coming in. Do you think that's gonna happen sooner or later?
I think later. I don't think they're ready to give the job to one guy yet. I think that was pretty evident Saturday. And I know these games are important right now in the spring, and there's a playoff for a championship, and you certainly want to avoid a disastrous season, whatever that record would look like. But I really think they hope they have a number one quarterback by the fall, and we'll audition these two right now. And then if for some reason, worst scenario, they don't think either quarterback can make it, do they go into the portal and try to find someone? I don't think anyone else on the roster is quite ready, but that's a good question. I don't think there's enough time in the week to get repetitions and snaps for any quarterback with the starting unit. So at some point, someone has to be given a chance. And maybe, just go, those growing pains. And I think most people think if that happens, it will be Wade because he's a redshirt freshman. He's going to come back as a redshirt freshman if he wants to in the fall, so he'll still have 4 more years. You would think that he's your future if you think he's the quarterback. But, Anthony, I think you've got to get some receivers and you've got to give these guys time to pass. So it's a little bit of everything. But I do agree. I don't think you can eventually be successful with a 2-quarterback system.
You know, and Bob and I was on the field level, and it seemed like whether it was Wade or Craycraft, 3-4 steps back, they're running for their lives. And, you know, we can sit back, and you guys had have a great view of the defensive backfield, and you can speak upon the receivers not getting any separation from the DBs, but when the quarterback is scrambling for their life 3 and 4 steps back, that kind of makes it difficult as well.
Yeah, there really wasn't anybody open. You know, when you watch a game on TV, that's what you miss, what's happening downfield, or listen on the radio. You know, you really just don't see it visually. But they're just a couple times we had a chance to hit plays. Modes on the one play down the middle. The best pass plays were to the tight end, Benio and Josh Burgett. A couple times I think we had an opportunity to connect with him and maybe missed him. But right now, in our best receiver coming back, Samuel St. Cyrin, is out for the spring. So there are a lot of youth, a wide receiver. We've got some new faces coming in, like Moj, who's a transfer, mid-year transfer that haven't been with the program very long. I think it takes some time to develop quarterbacks and receivers and getting in a rhythm and getting comfortable playing together. And we're only 2 games into it. I think if we make improvement and we see this team get better and maybe start scoring some points, then things will, you know, start looking brighter for the program. But I agree, 7 points through 2 games, no pass game to speak of, running game struggling, something has to change.
Let's talk about the positives of this team and the defense that is playing so well, keeping them in games while the offense has struggled. What have you seen that is so impressive about the defense?
Well, I like the 2 corners. You know, I think Jack Ubick, a redshirt freshman from Warren Harding, has really been good. And Martin on the other side, a true freshman out of Florida. I think those guys have been really good. I think up front they've been pretty good. They all wore down and gave up some yardage in the fourth quarter Saturday. But I think the defensive line with Vinny Gentile, a local kid from Mooney, and Craig, DeMarco Craig and Antoine Cook have played well. Seems to be some depth on the defensive line. Jelani Stafford, another freshman they like quite a bit. And even the linebackers, I think, have played well. Griffin Hoke in the middle. Grant Dixon didn't play game 1, but game 2 was pretty good on the outside. I definitely think there's talent on the defense. That was an area where they maybe were most concerned when spring ball began. 27 redshirt freshmen, a lot of new faces on defense. Justice Reed opts out to go to Virginia Tech. Bryce Gibson, a cornerback, who would have been a veteran, went and transferred out. But that doesn't seem to be the area. I think that's a credit to defensive coordinator Joe Schaefer in his first year. What he's been able to put together. So those are the bright spots. I think special teams took a step backwards. You know, missed a short field goal, didn't punt the football quite as well. So I know they want to fix that. But I think you're right. I don't think it's all doom and gloom, especially with the talent on the defense and the youth of that talent on the defense. Going to be here for a number of years.
Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football Penguins, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. All right, you spoke of the punting game, and in fairness, Patty Lynch did put two balls inside the 20-yard line and did a very nice job on those 2 kicks. But Bob, and he's from Australia. He has an interesting way of punting the ball. He's not in a stationary position where he punts the ball. He runs and then punts the ball, and a couple of times he looked good. Both punts landing inside the 20-yard line, but when he doesn't look good and shanks one, oof! It's the two punts that he shanked. Unfortunately, gave Northern Iowa really good field position.
Yeah, you know, he's a freshman, and Coach Phillips said on the plane ride to North Dakota State, he really was reading the rules of football, American football, because he had never played. And it's a different style, not a different style. We see a lot of guys do it, but as far as the way we used to remember punters, and DeSalvo is more traditional. And we'll see. He did a really good job at North Dakota State, but Saturday was not good. We gave up field position a couple of times. So I think, again, there you've got a true freshman, and you've got a backup in DeSalvo, who's still pretty young in the program. It's got to get better. And I think McFadden will be fine at place kicker. I sure hope so. He only had 1 opportunity, so I don't think you can judge him completely on just 1 kick in 2 games.
You know, last week we talked about the attitude and the grit and the fight and the body language of this team in week 1. Really easy to do that in week 1. Everyone's excited for the season. Is it still there here in week 2? Losing twice in a row, is the fight and the body language and the attitude still there with this team?
Oh, I think so. I think they fought to the end and played hard. I don't think it was lack of effort or determination or the guys going out there and playing hard. Now, Anthony, get with me, and I hope we're not here if we're 0-6 going to Western Illinois or Missouri State. Will the fight still be there? I think that'll be something we need to look at, but hopefully we'll get some wins before then. But I still think that it's so early in the Coach Phillips era. The players are bought in. They believe. I think they played really hard to the very end on Saturday. Just wasn't enough talent on the field to beat Northern Iowa, but the game was there. I mean, it was only 6-0 early in the fourth quarter, so we played two really good teams so far, and we're going to get another really good one coming up on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, to everyone's surprise, Southern Illinois in Carbondale just absolutely destroyed North Dakota State, ending their 39-game winning streak. And, the Salukis come to Youngstown on Saturday, and then the Penguins have to travel to South Dakota State to take on the Jackrabbits, another top 5 program. So no rest for the weary for the Penguins for sure. Bob, something that happened on Saturday that, honestly, when I saw it, I didn't really think too much of it. I thought it was more of a chuckle than anything else. And apparently the Missouri Valley Football Conference didn't like what they saw on the field with YSU Director of Player Personnel Tim Johnson standing put, and a kid from Northern Iowa running out of bounds, ran into Coach Johnson, and then went off of Coach Johnson and fell on the ground, which I still think is kind of hilarious, but the MVFC did not think so, and they and Youngstown State have both agreed that Coach Johnson will not be permitted on the sidelines for the remainder of the spring season.
Well, Ron, Tim was a former player here, All-American, one of the best players in the Jim Trussell era. And not only that, he's really a good person. He's a great guy. I know he regrets what happened. I don't know what was in his head when it happened, but looked like the player at least appeared to take a little bit of a shot from the shoulder. And Tim still looks like he could play. He's a big guy. So if he hits you, you're going to feel it. Unfortunate. YSU's addressed it. They've taken him off the sidelines for the rest of the year. He's apologized, and I think move forward. I'm very pleased that he kept his job. I don't think it warranted, losing a job over that, but it just wasn't a good sight on that sideline. I think Tim will learn from it, and hopefully everybody moves forward.
Can you kind of break down what the director of player personnel responsibilities are, and maybe what especially his game day responsibilities are, and what that might change with him not being on the sideline?
I think his game day responsibilities are limited. I think Tim's role is helping with recruiting, working with mid-year transfers that come in to get acclimated to the program, get acclimated to school. I think having a former player who was an All-American on the staff helps. So I don't think, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, he's involved in much of the game day. When I've gone to practice, Tim's been on the sideline watching. He's not been on the field coaching. He's not been involved in team meetings as far as putting the scheme together. So it's more of an oversight, I think, recruiting, identifying personnel, not a director of football, but more, I think, in a recruiting aspect, helping identify top players around the state that might be able to be on a recruiting list for Youngstown State. So I don't think they're going to miss him all that much when it comes to game day activities.
Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football Penguins, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. And one of the things that I was going to be interested in was how are the fans going to react? And on the fifth quarter show, you get a couple of fans that some of the people that call in and say, well, this league, it's always been too tough for us. And then, of course, you got to generally remind everyone, hey, 5 years ago, this team went to the national championship game. This league really isn't, that too good for Youngstown State. And then other folks saying, well, we got to stay with a home kid in Wade at quarterback. And again, I've said this, and I've said this today on the program on multiple occasions. It's nice that we have local recruits. I love the fact that we have kids that are staying home, but this ain't high school. I mean, is it a great story when some of the kids, that some of the local kids play? Absolutely it is. But I'm not playing a local kid just because he's a local kid. This is college ball. You play, if you're playing because you've earned an opportunity to play, not because you're a local kid.
Well, I couldn't agree more. This is high-level football. This is where jobs are on the line from coaching staffs. We saw that with Coach Pelini and Coach Wolford and Coach Aycock when it didn't work out. You're playing against teams that have NFL-caliber players. I think once we get players, they're all our players. They're all Youngstown State Penguins. Sure, I'd like to see Michael Diaz and Cummings and eventually Chris Sammarone take the field because I watched them grow up and play here. But I'm most concerned about the program getting back on track and winning. If we have to go to, Russia to get a quarterback, let's go. I get the best guy that can win and move this program forward. So I like recruiting local, but they better be able to play. And if they're walk-ons, they need to understand you're going to have to overachieve here from what we saw in high school because that's the reason you're a walk-on. And I don't ever hope we get to a point where we say we're not good enough to play in this league or this conference. 5 years ago, you're right, we went to the title game. We've battled North Dakota State twice under Bo Pelini. We lost 27-24 to North Dakota State in years when they won the national championship. So we can compete. We can play in this conference, and I think Youngstown State should be playing at the highest level. And I don't think anybody in that athletic department is looking for an out to play in a weaker conference.
Can you break down this next matchup? I know Southern Illinois just beat North Dakota State, so I think everyone's eyes are opened up a little bit about the Salukis. But what do they do so well? What did they do so well to beat North Dakota State? And what should Penguin fans expect from the next opponent?
Well, they started a quarterback making his first start, Nick Baker. He completed 17 of 23 for 254 yards. He's only a sophomore. I thought what was most impressive is that they put up 443 yards of offense against that Bison defense. They were 11 of 16 on third down, so they've got a quarterback making his first start. I know they've got two really good running backs. I think in the big picture, Anthony, they're a program on the rise. Last year they won their last 5 games, probably should have made the playoffs. They played a game in the fall against a ranked opponent and beat them. Started off with a bad loss. Doesn't look as bad now at North Dakota, 44-21. But they're coached by Nick Hill, who was a great quarterback at Southern Illinois, probably 13, 15 years ago. So he's a local guy that they really like his style of offense. And really their 5-game winning streak started last year when they beat Youngstown State 35-10, and they got on a roll. And I think it's a program that's going to come in here feeling really good about themselves. And I think they can run it, they can throw it. I think they're a team that believes they're going to score a lot of points this year, and they sure did on Saturday against the Bison.
Well, our defensive backs will be tested again, and I say again because Will McIlvain, solid quarterback. Will McIlvain held to 50% completions, $183 in the air. Just a really good performance by the YSU defense.
I think, Ron, our defense will hold up well again. I think it's, the first 2 games have shown that's a pretty good defense that could hang in there. It will be tested. It's going to be tested the following week with South Dakota State as well. Ron, I think what surprised me a little bit on Saturday, number 1 North Dakota State lost, number 3 South Dakota State lost, and 7th-ranked Illinois State lost, all in conference play, which tells me the league's really deep, and maybe there's not a dominant team like North Dakota State's been, but there are a lot of good teams. Biggest surprise so far is North Dakota. First year in the conference, picked 7th. They're off to a 2-0 start, and 2 good wins over Southern Illinois and over South Dakota State. So a lot of good teams. But as far as our defense, I'll hang our hat on our defense. I think our defense will keep us in it.
Agreed wholeheartedly. Hey, Bob, always a pleasure. What's new over at the United Way before we let you go? Because I know you're very much involved in the United Way. What's going on over there?
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it. We just came off our campaign. Now working on our special events, and I can share with you that we don't have the date yet, but in early June we have confirmation that Ryan Day, the head football coach at Ohio State, will be coming to the Valley to support United Way. We're working on getting a date. We'll have a dinner. He'll be our speaker. We'll raise money. Back again this year will be our United Way Basketball Classic in December. We had to cancel last year because of COVID. I can share with you that some of the we have 4 games. They'll be December 11th. We've confirmed Poland boys will play LeBray boys. Girard boys will play Salem boys. Have a really good girls matchup, Poland and West Branch. And the 4th game, we have Boardman. We don't have an opponent yet. So those are 2 sports-related events getting Ryan Day to come in and our basketball classic back is good news for us.
Okay, now I got to ask, Ed Moransky, is he going to be offering up the Lake Club for Ryan Day?
Absolutely. Our event will be at the Lake Club. Ed does it first class, and we've had several events there, including Jack Nicklaus coming to town and Annika Sorenstam. So we'll be back at the Lake Club. When we get that date, I'll let you know on Ryan Day. It'll be sometime early in June, and it'll be a weeknight.
Okay, now I got to ask, have you golfed on that course?
Yeah.
So now how the hell are you're doing this whole TV thing and saying, hey, I'm Bob Hannon. Let me get on the tees. If I say I'm Ron Potesta, they're like, get the hell out of here.
We'll get you on this summer. How's that, Ron?
That sounds good. I'll embarrass myself on that course. That's good.
Yeah, I'm Ron Potesta. No.
We'll get it done, though.
Bob, always a pleasure, sir. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
See ya. Bob Hannon, the voice of the YSU football Penguins. Yeah. And I was like, do you know who I am? Yes, that's why we're not inviting you.
No.
We know how bad of a golfer you are. You're not tearing up our golf course. No.
Ron Potesta. Oh, no.
No, you are not allowed, sir.
Denied.
Yeah, Hannon's a pretty good golfer.
And I'll tell you, I am so excited that the United Way Classic is going to be back. That's such a great event held at Poland High School.
Yeah.
And I was sad that it couldn't be held this year, but those are some really good matchups to look forward to
That's
next season.
not too shabby.
I mean, Poland LeBray, and then Poland girls versus West Branch.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
And by the way, that LeBray team isn't losing very many kids from that squad this year, so they're going to be. It could be a lot of fun next year.
And it's going to be a new look Poland team because
Coach Grisdale will be
he'll
he'll be retired and we'll have a brand new head basketball coach in Poland. So, but that's next year.
Yeah,
the Poland still has
still alive.
Yeah, and they still want to win a few more games. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we will hear from the voice of the YSU men's basketball team, Rob Schmidt. We'll talk some Horizon League tournament. Can the Penguins win 3 more games and become an NCAA basketball
one game
participant?
at a time. One game at a time.
We'll see.
You just take it one step.
Listen, all I know is the 2 games they played against Oakland at the O Arena, they got beat by double digits both games, but both games were without Darius Quisenberry, and that I think can be the major difference.
Cold treats, hot eats, DQ. That's how we do it.
So before we go to break, let's go to Rich. Rich, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's up, brother?
Good afternoon, young gentlemen.
What's up, man?
Oh, just enjoying a November day out here. It went from sunny and nice to, I don't know, wait till you go outside. It's changed.
What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing. I'm still trying to get psyched up for this Major League Baseball season. What's the word on these negotiations with the Players Union, Rico?
There is none. Enjoy this 2021 season. Enjoy it. It'll be the last one for a while.
Really?
Look, the owners and the players are not going to be agreeing on anything anytime soon. There is a dark storm cloud on the horizon. All I can say is enjoy this 2021 season because we might not get baseball in 2022. It's that bad.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that just put a damper on me getting psyched up.
Well, look, I'm going to be excited as all get out for 2021, and we'll see if the Indians can actually surprise some people and win the division. I mean, I think pitching-wise they'll be in good shape, but offensively, hopefully they'll be able to get some production out of what they have.
Well, this one guy they signed here. I was watching this interview with Terry Francona the other night on one of the sports deals, and I don't know the guy's name. He came here. All I know is he was an Indian killer. They signed him free agent.
Yeah, Rosario from the Twins. Yeah, Rosario from the Twins.
Yeah, he's a pretty good talent.
Oh yeah, they'll stick him in left field. He's going to be one of the everyday outfielders, and then if Oscar Mercado can improve, he'll be the center fielder, and then now you have to figure out, okay, who's going to play right field for us.
Francona's final statement on the entire deal was, "I'm glad to have you. Now I don't hate you anymore." All right, guys. Today is leftovers day. We got stuffed Cubanellas. We got a little bit of everything going on here. Easy day for the cook. It's heat and eat.
Cubanellas, nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, there you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come out really good.
All right.
And some good sauce. All right, guys. Thanks for the vine. I'll be in touch with you.
All right. See you, Rich. 330-886-0813.
Rich is always making us hungry, man.
Yeah, he's cooking up some foods. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, I haven't missed many meals, so
he still hasn't brought us any running point like meals provided by Rich.
Well, I mean,
I think we need Rich to cater one of the running point episodes.
I would like that. It's up to Rich. I mean, I would like that. I wouldn't mind eating some of the food that he cooks. That's but I'm trying to lose some of my little excess here.
You had it going for a minute. The winter kind of turned you back.
The winter's just like brutal, and and then you're looking around going, okay, where the hell can I walk?
Your 40 time has gone down a little bit.
Well, yeah. It's now that the weather's getting a little bit better, I think now I can brave the elements and
get it back up a little bit.
Get back to doing 2 and 3 miles and go from there.
Cut some seconds off your 40.
Oh, I'm never doing another 40 again. That's not happening. That's just, I did it once or actually did it twice.
Twice because you weren't happy with the first time.
Well, the first one,
the
first one was it was embarrassing. I was like, no, I can go under this time, and I did. So it is what it is. All right, we'll take a timeout. Rob Schmidt coming up next. Stick around. It's a Monday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
High-res Futurecast shows steady snow for the next few hours.
Still just downright cold.
It is bitter out there.
Several strong bands of lake effect snow.
Winds is kind of the big story today as well.
So if you need a more detailed winter forecast on WFMJ.com and the Storm Tracker 21 app.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit WRSWealthAdvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy efficient experts.
All right, welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Joining us on this Monday, we normally have him on Wednesday because we want to preview the upcoming week. Well, the basketball regular season is over with. Now it's tournament time, and we're going to talk about the victory over UIC and then preview the YSU men's game against Oakland. And to do that, we bring in Rob Schmitz on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Mr. Schmitz, how are you today?
Well, we're back in tournament mode, getting ready to leave for Rochester, Michigan, which is just north of Detroit.
Okay, so Youngstown State, they put together a ridiculously good defensive effort over the weekend as they knock off UIC 74-58. They go to the quarterfinals, and everything looked like it was going to be chalk until Purdue Fort Wayne decided to come from behind and knock off Green Bay in double overtime. So Cleveland State gets the 10 seed. YSU will stay with number 3 Oakland. Number 5 Detroit stays with number 4 Northern Kentucky. Number 2 Wright State now, instead of getting Green Bay, well, they'll drop down 1 and get number 8 Milwaukee. So Cleveland State, the beneficiary of the 1 upset, but still Youngstown State taking on a very beatable Oakland team. But before we talk about that, comment about just a tremendous performance all the way around by the Penguins in their 16-point victory over UIC.
Well, I think that's what everybody expected out of this team before the season began. And they probably could have been, a little further ahead than they were going into that game had COVID not hit. But I think this is what you expected to see. I think you expect to see balanced scoring. I think you expected to see guys that know how to play with one another on the floor and know how to execute a game plan. And you saw that in Thursday's win over UIC. Darius was quiet in the first half Thursday, but, hit 2 big baskets near the end of the first half to get that lead up to 10 by the break. And then he really handled the ball and the clock very well in the final 5 minutes. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't allow UIC to ever really get back into that game. UIC never really went on any kind of a run to get themselves in contention. Once YSU was up by 10, they got the lead to 12, it went to 14, eventually got to 18, settled on the 16-point win. But, they just steadily and methodically pulled away and never allowed the Flames to get any kind of confidence. And I think, that was the best they've played this season. I think it gives them a lot of confidence going into tomorrow's game against Oakland, where they have not played well. But I think with Darius back and even Grayson Kelly, he could be a guy, because Oakland's going to play so much zone, that could come in and maybe hit a couple of threes for you. I just think now, I think they feel good about where they're at defensively, and that's going to carry over to tomorrow's game.
And you said they did not play well at Oakland during the regular season, but a dramatically different Penguins team coming in this time, not just because DQ is on the floor, but this confidence is so much higher because they've been winning and they've been on a big momentous streak. So talking about some of the differences that YSU has now compared to the last time they played Oakland, and some of the changes you'll see in that game.
Anthony, I think the big thing that you'll see is Oakland cannot collapse on Nas Bohannon like they did in games 1 and games 2, and virtually try to take him out of the game. Now, Nas, I think, had 10 or 11 points in game 1, but really had to work hard to get those. Had 8 points, 10 rebounds in game 2, and that was their sole concentrated effort, was to make sure that Nas didn't go for 20 or 30, because, right around that time, he had a 32-point game against Green Bay just a few weeks ago. So he was really carrying that team. And, I don't think Oakland respected anybody else on that floor, which this time around will be a huge mistake. Michael Akuchie did not play very well in that 2-game series at Oakland. He's playing very consistent basketball now. And even when he doesn't score, he's still coming up with 8, 9, 10 rebounds. So I think he's going to be a different factor. Garrett Covington, I think, will be different. I think the way he and Nas are working well with each other and the way Garrett's running the baseline and cutting to the basket, I don't know that he had that kind of confidence in the first game. They're going to have to make their threes, but with Darius back, it should open up a little bit of the middle. I think it'll help alleviate a little bit of Nas's congestion in that zone. But they're going to have to make some threes. That's why Miles Hunter had a really good weekend up there with 18 points in both games. But what it does, too, with Darius' return, it helps Shamar Rattan-Mays because now he doesn't have to handle the ball all the time and make all the right decisions. So what it does, it balances the whole floor out now, and it makes Oakland think about who do they really want to try and take away in tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, and the easiest way to get a team out of a zone is to start hitting threes. You call them zone busters for a reason. And look, if the Penguins are able to go 3 happy, that's going to force Oakland to make some changes defensively, and then that's going to open things up for Bohannon.
And I would hope, Oakland's not played great defense all season within the league. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they rank last in points allowed. So, as long as the guys are patient and execute, and Ron, as you and I talked about Thursday, don't give Oakland free possessions. I think you'll get your shots, and then it just comes down to making those shots. And where Oakland was really good in the first 2 games was Jalen Moore, their point guard. He averaged a double-double in the 2 games. They know they've got to slow him down. They've got to get the ball out of his hands. But where Oakland's really come along, and they're better. I think they're better. I think they're a little more well-balanced than when we first saw them in January because their 2 freshmen in Trey Townsend and Micah Parrish are better. I don't know how deep Oakland is, but right now, you saw it Thursday against UIC. YSU's only going 7-8 deep. So, you've shrunk your bench at this stage of the year, so I don't think that's a concern. But I like Oakland's 2 freshmen. I think they're a problem. I think they can be a problem defensively because they're long, like a Miles Hunter is for YSU. And they've got a guy like Nas and Daniel Oladapo who can be a double-double and can get you 15 rebounds. He had 20 in the game against Robert Morris the weekend after Nas, or after Akuchie had gotten 24. So, he's that kind of guy that you got to account for in the middle. Now, this would be a great game. I mean, they're 2 teams that mirror one another as far as players on the floor. I mean, not so much coaching philosophy, but I think you can match up, and find similarities in each guy on the floor for both teams.
And the defensive numbers you spoke about Oakland really does drive home the point that their zone is a little bit different from some other zones that you'd see at this level, where they're playing zone, in my opinion, to hide some defensive discrepancies that they have, while other teams are playing zone because it's their specialty and they play zone really well. And I think that makes it a little bit, the ways to beat it a little bit different. Like, I think for Oakland's zone, you just have to get it to move. You have to get it to rotate well, because eventually they're going to make rotation mistakes because they're making their defensive discrepancies. So I think ball movement on the perimeter, driving kicks, and definitely making that extra pass on the perimeter are going to be very important for the Penguins.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. That ball's got to move tomorrow night. It cannot get stuck at one point on the floor because you're just playing right into Oakland's game. So that ball's got to move. In the difference, in past, when we were there 2 years ago, and they lost by 4 at 88-84. that atmosphere when you have fans at the arena make a difference because it's a small venue. They're right on top of you. The students do a great job getting involved, but they won't be there this time. So I think that helps alleviate a little bit of the tension, takes away a little bit of home court advantage for Oakland. I think we need a fair whistle. In that game 2 years ago, in which the guys lost by 4, Oakland shot better than 40 free throws in that game. So you're going to have to get a fair whistle at Oakland tomorrow night.
Okay, the other 3 games, Cleveland State will be playing number 10, Purdue Fort Wayne. Northern Kentucky will be hosting number 5, Detroit. Wright State, the 2 seed, will be hosting number 8, Milwaukee. Rob, you and I talked a little bit about this off the air. Purdue, Fort Wayne, and Milwaukee, they're probably not built for the distance, but these 2 teams can pull off upsets tomorrow night.
Oh, well, I think, immediately when the first round was over, I think people like, and he's a great coach, don't get me wrong. I think Greg Campy was a little nervous that he got matched up with YSU again because of Darius Quisenberry's return and the way a couple of the bench players have matured as far as freshmen. And I think Cleveland State was nervous when Purdue Fort Wayne got the win because the week before, the final week of the regular season, Purdue Fort Wayne, which had lost, I think, 8 or 9 in a row, and were swept here, they went up and they went home and beat Cleveland State in the first game of that final 2-game set to close out the regular season. So Purdue Fort Wayne and Cleveland State have already played each other 4 times. All 4 games were at Purdue Fort Wayne. But, the Mastodons figured out a way to beat Cleveland State in one of those last 2 games. So I got to think, Cleveland State will be confident. They should be heavily favored. But I think Purdue Fort Wayne probably feels pretty good heading to Cleveland State, knowing that they've beaten them already, that if Purdue Fort Wayne can get hot and make 15 threes, and they're more than capable of doing that, that could be a very interesting game. I think Milwaukee's a solid team. I don't know that they can contend with Loudon Love and Grant Basile. I think that is eventually going to be Milwaukee's downfall. But, Tijon Lucas is a good enough guard. They've got a couple of newcomers who I have not seen since YSU did not play Milwaukee this year. I think Milwaukee has shown that they've got the potential to sneak up and beat somebody on a weekend. They did that with Cleveland State. They split their series up in Cleveland earlier this year. So, you can't overlook anybody by any stretch of the imagination.
In this tournament, how much does playing a team twice in the regular season, back-to-back on back-to-back days, kind of change the preparation? Because in a normal Horizon League, you'd have a film against them, early in the season. Then you'd have film against them kind of a month later, so you could see the progression of both the teams and how you match up against both progressions. Now you have the 2 games of when you played them on the year, and that's all you have to really go off of as far as how you match up against them. Does that change preparation at all, you think?
No, I still think they'll go back and watch video from the last month, and see if they're doing anything different over the last 4 weeks of February heading into the tournament. For a guy like Greg Campy, who's been doing this now for more than 35 years, he's not going to really change his philosophy and what that team does. They're going to want to get up and down the floor. He's going to send Jalen Moore to the basket and try and get him fouled. They may tweak a few things. I think you might find a couple of, he may try to load up the zone on one side. They may try to go, have YSU go one way and not give them the whole floor to work. But I think on the whole, I think these 2 teams know each other well enough and the personnel well enough that I don't know if there'll be any huge changes in the way they defend one another tomorrow night.
Rob Schmidt joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I think the game of the night tomorrow night, if we're taking out Oakland and Youngstown State, is going to be in the home of the Norse. Honest to goodness, and I'm calling this right now, number 5 Detroit is going to upset number 4 Northern Kentucky. I've loved this Detroit team from the time they came into Youngstown State, and they were starting to get hot when they came into YSU and beat the Penguins 2 nights in a row. And I made mention, man, they play like they played against Youngstown State. They can beat anybody in this league. I think Detroit will beat Northern Kentucky tomorrow night.
No, I think you'll find more people that will agree with you than disagree with you, Ron. I think, because of the way Antoine Davis is currently playing, because they finally got some players around him who are not just role players, but are significant contributors to Detroit Mercy's team. They're just not innocent bystanders who are standing around watching Antoine Davis shoot and then hoping to grab a rebound so they can score. They've got guys that they can run offense for. They've got a kid named Noah Waterman, who's 6'11" transfer, that can shoot the three. So you got to account for him. And, you saw Bull Quoll. You got to account for that guy. He's long and lanky and get to the basket, still shoot threes. Actually shot him better than Antoine Davis did early in the season. So they've got some pieces around him, and there's no doubt they are a dangerous basketball team because Antoine Davis can go off for 40 like he did the other night when he had 46 against Robert Morris, albeit Robert Morris, but he still has that potential, to hit 8, 9, 10 threes like he hit the other night against Robert Morris on Thursday. They're definitely dangerous, and I don't know. It's going to be a matter of how well can Northern Kentucky's defense baffle Detroit Mercy and frustrate them, because I don't think NKU has enough offense to outscore Detroit Mercy.
When you look at the landscape of this tournament and maybe who's a real, maybe a sleeper that can really win this tournament, you think, and maybe outside of the top two?
Well, I think Ron hit on it, and I think Anthony, it's weird to call him a sleeper, but I think if you had to point at one team, and again I'll exclude Youngstown State, it would be Detroit Mercy. I think they can get to the finals. I think YSU can get there, and I think they could play each other for the Horizon League championship. I think things could play out perfectly where you see Detroit Mercy on a Tuesday in the championship game, and YSU playing them for that spot in the NCAA tournament. So, I would say the 5th and 6th seeds are just as dangerous as 1 through 4. So if you're looking for a sleeper, I'd look at those two teams. I'd look at Detroit Mercy and YSU, because as I mentioned, YSU right now, this is the team that people picked preseason number 2. Now, was it a little inflated? Maybe. But if they play as well as they did Thursday, and as well as they have done when they defend and don't turn the ball over, they're as good as anybody in this league. Those could be your two sleepers.
Okay, so I'm looking at this, and Rob, it's interesting you brought this up because I actually think Youngstown State and Detroit see each other in the championship game, and how it would happen is Cleveland State and Wright State both win their games on Tuesday night. The Vikings beat Purdue Fort Wayne. Wright State beats Milwaukee. Detroit upsets Northern Kentucky. Youngstown State takes out Oakland. Because YSU is the higher seed, Cleveland State plays YSU in the semifinals, game 1 in the Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Wright State would play Detroit in the nightcap. Youngstown State and Detroit both win those games, and you see the 5-seed Detroit Mercy Titans against the 6-seed YSU Penguins. And that's a lot of folks would look at this and go, yeah, right, come on. Look, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see Youngstown State and Detroit playing for the whole kit and caboodle in the Horizon League on Tuesday, March the 9th in the Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis.
Obviously, you have to be optimistic, but I don't think you're being wildly optimistic. You're a 6 seed, but you were 9-11. You won 4 games on the road in the league. You ended up winning 6 out of your last 7 in the league. So I think they're playing well. Detroit Mercy was 10-6 in league play. Oakland was 10-10. I don't think you're being wildly optimistic when you forecast it that way. No, there's no doubt that could come to fruition.
Do you think the winner of the Horizon League tournament will be put in a play-in game, or do you think they'll avoid that Tuesday play-in game in the NCAA tournament?
I would love, if YSU were to make the tournament, I would love to see them in the play-in game. And I've said that's not an embarrassing spot to be in, because it counts as an NCAA tournament win. It's still, in my mind, whether you want to call it a play or not, it's still a first-round game. And what it does, it still equals an extra share of pie when it comes down to tournament money for your league. So, it's a tournament win. There's nobody. You're not up against anybody. You're not up against, a whole day from noon to midnight of games where you're bouncing back and forth between different venues, and you don't get the full country's focus. You're the focus in that opening round, the so-called play-in game. There, everybody's watching you. You can win, get your first tournament win in a game that you're probably very well matched up against. If you get into that, you're looking at maybe another 16 seed, another team who's comparable to you, that you can go and win and look good and keep the excitement going for another week and gain some national spotlight. I'd love to be in that first round game as opposed to being a 16 seed and going to play Baylor in the opening round and just doing your best to be respectable.
Rob Schmidt joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you're playing Tuesday or Wednesday as a 16 seed in a play-in game, you're going to play the number 1 seed on a Thursday or Friday. You'll play a number 1 seed. It's just you probably won't play.
You'll play the overall 1 seed.
Yeah,
because that's the one that's waiting for the play-in game. The overall 1 seed of the 1 seeds.
Yeah. So if that's let's say Michigan, I'm good with that. If we wind up playing Michigan in the first round, I'm just happy to be there at that point.
Well, and we've played Michigan before. We've done okay. We've done So, at that stage, if you can be and you can get a win on a national level and then go play Michigan, you could easily go and maybe go toe-to-toe with them for the opening round, for the 40 minutes of a game. There's nothing out of the realm of possibility, but I sure would like to experience a little bit more than just a one and done. And I just think you have a really good matchup in that play-in game with another mid-major.
Heck, correct me if I'm wrong. Oakland took Michigan to the brink this year, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I mean,
and Detroit Mercy played them tough.
Yeah. I mean, and look, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but obviously whoever comes out of the league, and we talked a little bit about this off the air as well before we let you go, this is not a multi-bid league yet. And there's a reason why they're reseeding going into the semifinals, and that's to protect the top 2 seeds. And we get that. We understand that. When this league becomes, if this league ever becomes a multi-bid league, then that will probably stop.
Probably, I would think so. There's still talk that they're going to keep the NIT alive, albeit probably a lesser field. So there could be options, but no, I just think for right now, tomorrow night's game against Oakland it's a monumental game, and I say monumental because this is the step you want to take. You were beaten 2 years ago at Oakland in Coach Calhoun's second year. You took that step last year. You won an opening round tournament game, then lost in the second round to UIC. You've avenged that loss this year, beat them for the first time ever in the tournament. Now you want to try and get that second tournament win to get to the semifinals. This is a big step. I think it's an important game for the players, who have been with Coach Calhoun for all 4 years, and I think it's important to kind of get that Oakland bravado off your back a little bit, and kind of stamp out your own ground and say, look, we're as good as anybody in this league, and we just proved it Tuesday night.
Well, and not to mention the fact that if a victory by Youngstown State, or anyone for that matter, you're looking at 5 days to prepare for your semifinal opponent. And give me a guy like Jared Calhoun, who is a master tacticianist and strategist. You give him 5 days to prepare for a team. I'm going to guarantee you that team's going to be ready to play basketball. So if Youngstown State were to win, I will be more than willing to sit back and say this Penguin team will be ready to go from a coaching standpoint 6 days later on Monday, March the 8th in Indianapolis.
Yeah, no, they just got to remain focused tomorrow and execute. I mean, they know Oakland, they know what Oakland's all about, and it just comes down to executing tomorrow night and playing solid defense. And making shots. They've got to make sure when those shots are available, if they make them tomorrow night, because they're going to have those opportunities come.
Rob, I look forward to hearing the call of your game tomorrow night. Fingers crossed they get the victory and go into the Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis. And like I said, it's It would be a tremendous win for the program to get into the semifinals and get back on national TV. Both games will be on the ESPN family. ESPNU has the first semifinal game. The Deuce has the second semifinal game, not the Ocho because they're too busy doing dodgeball.
Right.
And then the championship game will be on ESPN or ESPN2.
It should be a lot of fun. It all starts tomorrow at 7:30 at the arena.
What's the Oakland food situation? You got to hit us with that before you go.
Well, it might not be as tantalizing as it has been before. We're pulling out late. We're leaving after the YSU volleyball match. The team's already left. They're on their way to Rochester, heading to Detroit as we speak. I'll be making that drive with Jamie all later tonight. So really, I think it's just pizza for post game. That's all. A little disappointing for you.
That's all right. Just bring the pizza with you because their pizza's not too good.
I would agree.
All right, brother. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. That's the truth. Their pizza's nowhere near as good as ours.
Ron's going to go to Oakland with a sign that says, "You might have a good basketball team, but your pizza sucks."
Your pizza's nowhere close to Youngstown, Oakland. Get over it. Nobody's pizza's any good compared to Youngstown. I'm sorry.
There haven't been a lot.
I hear all these New Yorkers saying that their pizza's the best in the world. New York, forget about it. Our pizza's better than anyone else. Get the hell out of here.
I do like New York style.
New York style is good.
I like those big pieces with the thin. Like that.
Oh, Bruno Brothers has some tremendous New York style pizza.
I like the Chicago style, like the East of Chicago that used to be a thing.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, they're still in Salem.
Yeah.
East of Chicago still. Now the deep dish pizza I'm not a fan of. That's just it looks disgusting.
Do you like the stuffed crust?
Nah, not really.
Me neither. It doesn't.
Just give me the old fashioned.
It tastes fine, but the texture kind of throws me off.
Yeah, give me the old fashioned pizza where you make your dough and you toss it around. And
I saw a commercial for it. It's like a pizza bowl, where they give you all the ingredients of a pizza, but you don't have the.
You're folding everything in to make it a pizza bowl.
You don't have the crust. You just have everything in a bowl. That's like. And I'm like, what am I eating? If there's no crust, I'm just eating cheese with sauce.
Yeah.
What the heck is this?
Yeah.
But I thought, this is a good idea, though. What if you make a pizza crust into a bowl, and then you're eating that, like almost like a pie?
Well, either that or you put all the stuff in the middle, and you fold the ends up and put it neat and tidy,
well, that's like
and then put it in the oven.
It's like a pizzone,
That's
right?
like a pizzone or whatever.
A pizzone. Pizzone, you know.
Yeah, but
Adrian.
Like I said, their pizza's garbage compared to ours. Well, a lot of cities' pizza's garbage compared to ours, but especially up there. I've been up there, and plus their arena looks like a toilet bowl after.
Their arena?
Yeah, it's brown.
You mean like
the floor is brown. It's like you've gone into a toilet bowl and looked at it. It's all brown.
What arena are you talking
the
about?
Arena at
arena.
Oakland.
Okay, I thought we were still in New York.
No. The Arena.
I like their floor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it's brown.
I like their floor.
It looks like somebody took a dump and smeared it all over the.
Man, you're really.
I'm just saying, it looks crappy. No pun intended on that one.
I'll tell you, I love Oregon's floor.
Yeah,
but it only looks cool if you're looking at it back up. If you're just looking at it like this looks like it's scuffed up.
Yeah.
But then you back up and you realize it's all these evergreen trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Except the Oregon uniforms, they give me a migraine headache because they look like the highlighters. Those ones are good.
Baylor does that too.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it's just don't go highlighter uniforms. Just give me some.
Did you see that the Bengals are whipping out new alternate uniforms?
Oh, no.
The white tiger. They're going to replace all the orange with white and just go white and black.
Good Lord. On that happy note, Power Hour is coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3, Running Point.